Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Adventures of Adam, and welcome to my first ever live react live stream. I don't know if this is something I'm going to do a lot, but this was a topic that intrigued me, and I'm very curious to see what they have to say, and I think it would be interesting for you guys to get my live reactions. I have not watched this yet. I also noticed before I started the stream there was some discussion about this in the suggestions log in the community Discord. I have not read that yet, nor have I read the subsequent discussions that have stemmed from the original suggestion, and we'll read that after. You guys are welcome to feel free to chime in with your input live, and I will do my best to pay attention to your guys' feedback live while also listening to the team talk about what they got going on. I'm really interested to hear about this topic. So it's surprise world boss events. I before I watch anything on this, I want to give my initial reactions. I think it's cool that they're doing something innovative. However, I'm hesitant. My concern is that it will be something like Live Arena where it's only open during certain windows of the day, and I might not be available during the time frame when this event, the event is happening, and I might miss out on it. So that's my biggest concern, but we'll see what the team has to say.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Fateless podcast. Now, I'm stepping in as host today, and I've got a motley crew of creators for us to talk about some really important topics that probably is very of the top of people's minds. Boss mechanics. So today we're going to be talking about the things that we really like in boss mechanics, and maybe some little, we have got the chief leaker here, Simon. He might give you some little hints at what's coming. So before we get started, let's make sure everyone is introduced in here. So hey, let me throw it over first to Simon. And then we've also got YST and Nutbraids here, who, if you don't know anything about them, they cover Raid Shadow Legends and many different games on their own YouTube channels. So I'll throw it over to you, Simon.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, this is going to be an interesting one. So I think we were thinking, like, who do we need to bring on, like the experts at bosses? And we've got YST, who basically just like takes down a whole Doom Tower just with one epic hero in Raid Shadow Legends. So he was definitely coming on. And then Nutbraids, I guess you kind of made your mark by taking on the hardest new content in Raid when they dropped their new clan boss. So, the Hydra Killer is joining us here. But yeah, I guess YST, hand over to you. What do you love about, these kind of like different boss fights in this type of genre?
Man, there's so many different complexities and cool different boss designs. And yeah, I guess like for me, the main things is I love a cutscene animation. Do you know when you're entering this big bad boss and you're like, damn, this guy's flying around the corners, and you see the animations for the first time? It's always that wow factor for me. I love it. So yeah, I guess animations, visuals going hand in hand. Of course,
the Godforge Alpha definitely had that with the Fafnir intro. That was pretty sick.
Of course, a skill set that makes sense for vast majority of players to be able to take them down, not just like a specific kind of one-dimensional boss design that specific champions of certain debuffs can do, which I'm sure we'll touch on later as well. And yeah, just rewards, maybe some lore in there and some attachment for a player towards a boss, and to have that wow factor. I think all of those things for me play hand in hand. Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Nubs? Is there anything like in addition to that, or anything in particular like from other games where you're like they nailed it because of this?
I feel like with gacha games in particular, right? Because it's about collecting characters and then seeing the cool stuff that they do. And like certainly in Godforge, you're gonna have like so many different characters with so many different skill sets. I think it's important to have a number of different bosses, so you can be like, oh, I pulled this whatever character X. Oh, they're really cool for boss Z. Awesome, great. They get to shine there. And that's really going to change up that team. And that's, I think, what's probably the most fun about the gacha game stuff is a lot of stuff to progress on at a different time. And as your collection grows and you build up your champions, you're like, oh yeah, I'm slowly marking off each of these bosses. On top of everything YST said about, I think it's really important that they're cool and epic and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think so. So I completely agree. It's almost like that lock and key mentality of, okay, we need to try and pick this lock of this boss, and the boss needs to have probably one or two really distinct abilities that you need to try and counter, and then really we need the heroes to be coming into the game that have got different ways to try and unpick those locks. And for us, I don't know, Paul, have we actually announced how many bosses we're launching with?
I think
we
they said 16 at one point.
Anyway, give us a number. Give us
put me under the pressure of
if we haven't,
information.
give us a reason people to watch this thing. So
we have over 10.
I think at one point they actually said 16 on a previous podcast, but I guess they forgot if they had leaked that at one point, or maybe it's changed. Who knows?
Is that correct? 4, 9, probably a bit more. Is that
over 10? That's like
that's
my
over
thing to get on a
20.
free card that I would get like.
Yeah, I think 12 or 13 at least, just for launch.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
And then perhaps talk to that, Paul. So let's talk about how we first kind of, I guess, put bosses into their own spots in terms of difficulty, because I think that's important as well.
Yeah, like I think one of the biggest challenges you have with bosses is a little bit to what YST was saying. Like we want players instantly to feel like they're getting an epic moment in the game, but early on in the progression curve, you might not be ready necessarily for that epic moment in the game, but we want players to experience it, because what you don't want to do is go through the natural grind that we have in some of these games where it's like, oh, I've got to go level up a bunch of heroes first before you can even think about beating the big bad, Doom boss or Doom Tower boss or clan boss. Like I need to level up. So for us, it's really important, like how we've tried to approach this.
I'm going to cut in real quick because I think he touches on a really good point there. Like, in my opinion, for as much flack as Raid gets, I think they designed the early difficulty curve of their game extraordinarily well. There is content that you can go in brand new and be victorious. The first time you step into clan boss, even on easy mode, you might last 20 seconds. You're like, oh, this is a completely different animal. I better level up my heroes before I come in here again. And I think the dungeon difficulty curves are pretty similar in that regard. Like there are definitely certain breaking points. What's up, DLDS? Welcome. But yeah, I think Safs seems to be pretty keen on that idea. So that's good. That's good.
As well as to try and think, okay, when a player is first getting involved in the game, they actually need to have a bit of base learning, so we can use that epic moment to try and give you a bit of base understanding of some of the mechanics in a boss fight that you're going to face in more complexity later on. Because there's also like there's a really weird balance. Like complexity doesn't always mean depth, and depth can be there without complexity. And I think the best example we ever saw about this was Clan Boss. The amount of depth to that one game
in
mode.
Rage, I mean.
And he's absolutely right. It's a very simple in terms of like it has 3 attacks, 2 AoEs, and a single target stun. But because we have learned how speed tuning and turn meter works, you can make these extremely intricate, full auto, highly synergistic teams to overcome the content. It's the game around the game mode itself that gives it that depth without making it too complex.
For those who haven't played it, like the Demon Lord.
Like the Demon Lord is extremely simple as a boss. It AoEs, it does a debuff, and it stuns one person. That's the whole thing. And you'd think, wow, how can you make any sort of depth to that concept?
And it's like everybody's favorite content too, right?
But we've made hundreds of videos between us on just different speed tunes and different ways to beat it with different champions and different and that's a really interesting balance we've tried to strike. We want depth. We don't want complexity, but in some situations you do want complexity because you want that kind of really nice lock and key, that kind of this hero is going to be really good. You need that one specific mechanic to solve this one specific mechanic.
It's like the Fire Knight in Raid, where they have the shield, you have to hit it 10 times, knock the shield down, and then you got to get as much damage as you can before the shield comes back up. And one of the ways you can do that is with turn meter manipulation. So I would say Fire Knight is definitely one of the more complex bosses in Raid, just because of the additional mechanics. It's not just like I attack, I attack, I attack, I attack, I attack, I attack. But yeah, and you definitely want a variety of interesting boss mechanics, right? Otherwise, every fight feels the same and it's boring. So,
but
I think there's an idea of this like stepping stone as well. So, if we take Raid that we've all played. You've almost got like affinity bosses. They've got like one key mechanic that you need to understand. And that's kind of like your entry level boss for a player to just start to get on the sort of path to grinding up resources. You then sort of move to some of the more like the dungeon bosses where they perhaps got one or two mechanics to get through, and you could probably like bully your way through the very early levels without really understanding those mechanics, but eventually you're going to have to get a grasp of them. You then kind of go on to like some of the clan boss stuff where, although it's relatively simple mechanics, actually has a lot of depth in terms of how those mechanics play out. And then probably, you go to stuff like the Doom Tower where the bosses actually come in, and you need to have quite specific teams to be able to beat certain, or at least specific abilities within your teams to be able to beat some of those different bosses. And I think each of them is almost like a stepping stone on a player's journey of, getting a good feel for the game.
I think one of the what Simon's talking about here is very interesting. And I think, again, for as much flack as Raid Shadow Legends gets, they have done a very good job with that. It's like the easy dungeon that you can pretty much face roll is Dragon. And then the step up is probably like Ice Golem. It's like Dragon with ads on the side. And, from a boss mechanic perspective, it's pretty simple as long as you don't get one shot when he, push him over the thresholds while his ads are alive. And then it's like Spider and Fire Knight kind of at the top. But you need different. But like the roster that you use for one dungeon isn't going to be the exact same as you use for the others. There might be some overlap, especially between like Fire Knight and Spider, because you want that turn meter control. But like it's probably not going to be the exact same team unless you're doing speed runs, right? So it sounds like I agree with everything they're saying. I think they've got their finger on the pulse of what makes a good game, which is probably not a surprise to anyone.
Perhaps pushing their understanding to a different level, and then when you beat some of those challenges which feel harder, actually you get quite a good sense of achievement for doing it. So it's a real balance between like how difficult should something be for the life cycle of that player, and if it gets too hard, then actually it pushes someone the other way. Bommel's a good example. When Bommel first came out, everyone was like, "This is horrendous. This is terrible." Like,
I still think Bommel is a horribly designed boss. Like, it's one of those bosses where there's like two or three ways to beat it. A, you cheese it with an unkillable a hero who can place block damage on himself. So you solo cheese, that's one way. Ally attack with exactly Nishak, or maybe the Epic who's kind of like Nishak. I wasn't playing the game when she came around, but I'm aware of her. And then just be completely overgeared with insane heroes, and you just steamroll it and ignore the mechanics. And to me, that's just not good design. He was way overtuned. But I want to hear what he has to say about Bommel.
It's like, so I guess, what's your thoughts? Maybe Nubs, in terms of that sort of stepping stone for a player, from perhaps a novice player into a more experienced one,
like with Raid, I think it kind of stands out with the Hydra clan boss, especially, that it actually unlocks far too early. We were talking off camera for a bit.
He is 1000% right. The lowest tier difficulty of Hydra is way too hard. Like when you unlock it, it's like months before, unless you're like a big time spender and you have like the perfect heroes and you level them up really quickly. I think it unlocks at like level 35 or 45 or something like that. And you just like, it's ludicrous how early they let you into Hydra and how unprepared everyone who goes into it the first time is. They like it. It starts off on normal difficulty. That's the lowest difficulty. They should definitely have an easy difficulty so players don't get discouraged and hate it from the very get-go. It's ludicrous how like if you haven't experienced it, start a new account today, play through, and then get to Hydra and see what I'm talking about. It's nuts.
But like in the free-to-play challenge that we're doing every year, like even within the first month, you're getting probably to Hydra even within the first couple of weeks of the game. And that clan boss is incredibly complicated. And it's also incredibly difficult. And you do walk into that and you get absolutely destroyed. And I think it's part of a puzzle if you've ever talked to like new players to Raid Shadow Legends, like not existing people going back on new accounts. But like I've coached a couple of new players, and people just get so overwhelmed. They're like, well, I'm what are these game modes? I'm just dying horribly. What's going on? What am I,
Yeah,
I don't
definitely.
understand. Hydra's such a weird example of that. It's like, why does this unlock so early when it's so hard? They sort of fixed it a bit with the Chimera clan boss, where it has these lower difficulty levels, and you can actually have a bit of a go at the boss before it starts ramping up. But yeah, so it's sort of like Hydra, they did it pretty badly and never fixed it, and then Chimera is a bit better in that sense.
So yeah, one of the things I think we're actually conscious of is that kind of mental load to a player. And I think that's one of the things that Raid kind of, as it evolves, they're trying to add more challenge. Their challenge comes in the form of like more game mental load. Like you need to know all these different passives, and you need to know what the 6 different heads could do at any point in time in Hydra. Amius is the one that comes to my mind. Like myself and YST, we sat on a call once just trying to work out like how to beat one rotation, and it's like got all these different passives and it changes 2 forms. You don't really know why it changed form because you have little quirks in the game.
I have a very relatable experience. I don't know if you guys recall or if you watched my Raid Shadow Legends content at all, but I was doing this series called the Free-to-Play Rares Only Plus. And the idea was I would try to beat the game using champions who are rare, uncommon, or common, plus any champion who is free and permanently available forever. When I got to Bommel, his dread bombs that he summons that explode have a passive called Short Fuse. And in the Short Fuse passive, if you deal damage to them with HP burn, they get a turn meter boost. And that's one part of the passive. And then there's a second paragraph in the passive where they're immune to all damage except for damage from HP burns or something like that. But there was so much information under one ability, I got confused. So when I was dealing physical damage to the bombs, I would see the passive pop up that says Short Fuse. And in my mind, I'm panicking because I think I just gave these dread bombs a turn meter boost. But that wasn't what was happening. The Short Fuse passive would proc and pop up on the screen because it was immune to the damage I dealt it. And because the passives were so complicated and there was no place in the actual game to read these passives, I had to go to a third-party website where they data mined what the passives do to learn and understand and be able to read the passives of these ads that get summoned by the boss. Like, it was so obfuscated and so complex and so confusing, it altered my understanding of what I needed to do to beat that boss. Just horribly designed in that regard. Just another reason I disliked Bommel. But you have to, if there's crazy shit going on, you have to make it clear and obvious to the player. Like, I shouldn't have to go to a yumilove.net to look up what the mechanics of the, like, it's ludicrous. But anyway, hopefully that's something they could avoid in Godforge.
That kind of break the passive. So it's something actually.
Do you think, though, just on that, do you think it's because now, I mean, Raid's like 6.5 years old. When it launched, it did not have, you know, whatever it's got now, like probably 30 bosses plus now, right? It's got a lot of content, and it's had to have that content because it's had to evolve and keep the player base interested, all that type of stuff. Obviously, if you actually look at their base game, I think is actually a really solid, you know, difficulty.
I think everything that came out in like the first 2 or 3 years of Raid was pretty decent. Hydra is kind of when they started to lose the plot a little bit.
Curve and really interesting bosses. It's more about they've almost added the next layer of complexity to a boss to keep the longer term players interested. But actually, like you say, Nubs, they then open that up quite early for a new player that's got no experience in the type of game, and that's where it's a challenge, I think.
And
what's up, Karinsky? Welcome.
Also on that point as well, I think the whole thing that Nubs is saying around like getting specific heroes, as it's evolved, those requirements have become a lot more narrow. You know, you used to be able to get away with Cold Heart that could do quite a lot of cool things. Now, you kind of like, you know, you really need like those either mythical champions because there's one stage in Sintranos that you just can't get past unless you've collected this 1 or 2. And I actually wonder how you guys think about that as a mechanism, really. Like, it's really cool to get a hero that, like, Allure is really good for Fire Knight. But when you then start entering the realms of the whole game is tailored around, I need to get 1 of 900 or 1 of 800 or 1 of 700. Like, how does that start becoming not fun?
I think it's cool that Allure is good at Fire Knight, but if you couldn't do a Fire Knight unless you had Allure, that's when it becomes a problem. I think it's cool to have heroes who are specialists and obtaining them just makes you a god in that particular game mode that they were designed for. But if completing the content is locked behind having, like, if you don't have this hero, you can't do it, that's when it starts to venture into poor design, in my opinion. Let's see what they have to say about it, though.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, bringing it back to what you're saying there, Simon, about like the early bosses for Raid were really good, and
Yeah.
they're quite simple. And it's just a couple of core mechanics. They've got a really cool, distinct theme. Like there's a dragon, there's the Fire Knight, there's the Ice Golem, it's Spider. They all look very different. They've got very simple stuff like Fire Knight, lots of multi hits, speed manipulation, turn meter manipulation. Like, okay, cool. That's all I've got to do. There's loads of champions that fit that bill. So I, do the best with the team I have. And as I get champions that fit that, or like Dragon, oh, I can bring some poisons to stop him doing his special attack. They're actually quite simple, but they end up being, that's fine. It's still really fun. And Demon Lord, again, as mentioned earlier, exactly the same, actually very simple, but a huge amount of depth to it. For years, really, for players.
Yeah,
so.
it's all about introducing.
And when you make a new account and you fight those bosses again, even though they are simple and they haven't gotten insanely more complex over time, unless you start, talking about going into hard mode and stuff, it still feels fun and rewarding to play. Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
Those core mechanics, right? Like with the dragon, the poison debuff is here, and the ice golem, the block debuff, so you can counter these incoming debuffs and the multi hits. And there was loads of cool core mechanics, I guess, in the first dungeons of Raid. But as you mentioned, as the game's evolved, it's like there's so many more complexities and stuff. And going back to what Simon was saying earlier, that introduction to new mechanics and how to take down a boss with certain encounters definitely has to evolve with the game as these new bosses are being released as well. I think it's very important, similar to like the dragon stages and stuff.
Yeah,
Sure.
It does actually make me wonder. Obviously, we've been going through a lot of our designs pools over the last few weeks and just making sure that we've got different designs for different types of abilities and making sure that our range of heroes have got really good use cases. It does actually make me wonder if we've already maybe pushed a bit too complex with design. I guess you both played.
I've only seen a few bosses, and the ones I've seen were in the alpha. I think they did a good job designing the bosses that we saw in the alpha. Like, once you got to Fafnir or Golden Guardian 120, you really had to pay attention to the mechanics. And if you didn't read his skills and pay attention to what his mechanics were, you get annihilated because you don't understand the fight. The number one most asked question that I saw while I was moderating the Discord during the alpha is, how do I beat the Golden Guardian? I'm stuck. And once I would explain the mechanics of the fight to the person and they understood what they needed to do, they got it done. Like, sometimes all it takes is just taking a moment and reading the boss's skills. It's just once you understand it, it's not that hard to overcome. Just, it's a matter of getting the person to just read. Reading the boss often explains the boss.
Elements of the alpha. I don't know if you played it all the way through, but how did the designs of, say, the Golden Guardian and Fafnir feel to you, and where do they rank in that kind of like complexity level or depth?
Son YST, I didn't get that.
No, so I got that far. I passed Fafnir. I think it was on the Cavern 60 or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember. And then I took on the Guardian, which I failed at. I did fail.
Okay.
I didn't go through to actually complete it, but I did get pretty far. It was obviously the mechanic thing. Like, I believe the Guardian is dots, right, to take it down.
That's a core mechanic, would be like bleeds and
so I
acid,
don't
that
think
type
I
of stuff,
had.
yeah.
I don't think at the time I had the dots to kind of take it down. But from watching creators like Ragewood in the community, obviously once the core synergy comes to life, it's beatable with many different champions. I would say so.
Because I think one of the things we really liked, or we're trying to do, I guess, is look back to some of the nostalgia.
What I always do the first time I encounter a boss is I just stick the team in that's been working and I hit play and see if the team I have works. If it works, go on to the next stage. If it doesn't, then I stop and go, okay, well, this didn't work. Why didn't it work? In Alpha 1, when I couldn't beat Golden Guardian 120, I read his skills. I'm like, oh, he instantly kills me when he uses his ultimate. I need to prevent him from using his ultimate. I was like, what? I either need to kill him before he gets there, or steal his divinity, or reduce his divinity. And then I figured it out from there, right? So I don't know.
Logic.
Or if you don't want to read, you can go to YouTube and watch a guide from a content creator like YST did. It works just the same. You're getting the information. It's just,
fights that we got in like cool MMOs in the past. So, a lot of our player base are people that used to play World of Warcraft and, and games like that. Yeah. So, and those boss fights, they were always like the most fun part of the game for me. Doing a raid where you take down, 5 different bosses or whatever was always really fun. And they tend to have like phased combat. So,
Yes.
be like, okay, we need to do this mechanic for the first, 5 minutes of the run. We get them down to 30% HP, and then suddenly we need to switch our thinking and now deal with like a slightly different mechanic. And that's kind of like a vibe we're trying to go for. So with Fafnir, Fafnir changes form when you get to a certain point in the game. And it almost like it's a more enraged form that does more damage, but it's just a different mechanic to deal with.
I didn't realize Fafnir had multiple phases. And when I was reading his abilities in the game, I didn't realize there was a separate tab for each of his phases that explains what happens during each of those phases. I only read the initial tab. So I don't mind that there are additional phases. I just wish that it was more obvious that there was more to the fight than what I was seeing on that first page. Like if they would have had the other 2 tabs that I hadn't clicked on yet to read, like glowing or flashing or something to like catch my eye, like, oh, there's more to this. Because there were points in time when like Fafnir would heal himself and I didn't understand why he would heal. Because once he healed, he goes into the next phase and like, well, why did he heal? And I start reading all of his abilities to look for something that would cause him to heal, but I couldn't see them because once he changed phases, he has a new set of abilities that do different things. So nowhere in his passives or abilities did it say that he will heal when X condition is met. And there was no way for me to go back and look at his action bars from the previous phase that he was in. I already missed, like, something happened and I didn't understand why it happened, and I couldn't see that. I think it would be cool if there was a way to cycle through, like when you're in combat trying to figure it out and beat it, if there was a way to cycle through his ability sets from each phase. I don't know how they would do that, but that would have been really helpful for me personally.
I guess, do you think there is the ability to cross over in the way we're trying to do it in this genre?
I think there is the possibility for it. I'd say it really comes down to a few things for me anyway, is you have your core dungeons or whatever you're calling them for, the replayability factor, something that all players need to do to progress in your game.
Yeah.
And then I don't think it's a bad thing to have these other certain bosses that like bring in these unique strategies and different synergies and phases. It was actually something I put on the side that phases and environments is like one of my favorite things about these types of games. Like, yeah, we've seen it with like maybe the Iron Twins is a good representation of that kind of like below 40%. He goes wild. You're like, oh, damn, need to kind of bring in some revives here or something. But yeah, I think phases are really cool, especially if there's like a visual change to it as well. I think with Amius, I think even with him, it's really hard to deter which form he's in. You're like, is he in this? If you're not keeping an eye on that Eclipse buff, like you have no clue who this boss is or why he's switching forms, for example.
I think it's also something interesting to point out that YST, Nubraids, Saphira, Hell Hades, these are all really smart dudes and really good players. And if what's going on in a game is too complicated for these fellows to keep track of and be aware of, and that's should be a big red flag. Just throwing that out there.
But I think, visual kind of representations and maybe like some skill animation to say, oh, he switched into this phase. I could definitely see.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because Amius was the exact motivation behind having Fafnir stand and sit. And I remember when we were going through the development process, I had a bunch of people come to me and go, why did you make why does he look like he's sitting like a dog? And I was like, we were so traumatized by Amius. Where we're like, it's in the face, it's not in the face. The sky, they were trying to do it with the sky. And I was like, okay, when we do this system in our game here, we want to make sure that it's really straightforward. You shouldn't really have to know a boss is in a specific moment in time by trying to look at the small little number that is appearing below the bar that is mixed in with everything else. It needs to be like, okay, he's absolutely out of control. We're in trouble. And that's really, I think, I think to your point about having like repeatable versus one time is where really this number changes. I think when it's a one time kind of moment or something you only do once a day, there's more space to be a little bit more complex on the things changing. But
Yeah,
when you
I'm interested just to hear, Nubs, your take on this in terms of that direction for bosses in this type of genre.
Oh, I love it. I think it's sick.
Oh, okay,
Like
cool.
I think like especially going back to like at the very start, like when YST was talking about like the WoW and the epic boss encounter, like there's nothing more epic than you beat boss phase one and then suddenly Sephiroth's got a bunch of wings and it's like
Yeah,
phase
yeah.
two. Oh God, here we go.
It's a little bit different in games where there's an open world and a map. Because like back when I played World of Warcraft and I played a Resto Druid, I was on a raiding team. We raided like 2 times a week. There was this fight where there were 2 dragons and they would take turns fighting us. We'd fight one dragon and then push it into the second phase. They would rest and the other dragon would get up and do this mechanic called Deep Breath, where they would fly over the raid and put this purple fire down on the ground. And we had to move out of the fire. That was a cool mechanic because it required you to be paying attention. You had to move. And WoW, you can't cast spells while you're moving. So for me as a healer, I had to make sure everyone was healed up and topped off before we went into deep breath mode so no one died. Make sure everyone's healed to full before, because I'm not going to be able to heal them while I'm moving. And then once I move out of the fire, then I can start healing people who took damage from it. Because it was an open map that we were each in control of our own individual characters, we could engage with that mechanic differently than what we would be able to do in a game like this, unless they had their grid system that they were originally planning to do. I think without movement of your characters in an open space, it makes it much more difficult to design multi-phased combat systems, especially since every hero has like 3 skills and some passives maybe. How do you design a team that's capable of handling the mechanics of the first phase and also the second phase without swapping out heroes mid-combat? It adds an interesting team building challenge, but if they get too complicated with it, it will restrict the amount of heroes that people can use to overcome that content. And that never feels good if you can't beat a boss because you don't have a certain hero or a certain combination of heroes. So, food for thought. Just throwing that out there.
So, or like within the genre, I remember I don't play it anymore, but I did play Honkai Star Rail for a while, and like that was like one of the big hook moments. Is the final boss of like the first planet in that game? It's like it's got the phases and like you have the phase change and like this music soundtrack kicks in and like stuff starts going crazy and you're like, oh whoa, this is super hype. So like that's a really cool moment. So yeah,
Sorry, I was going to say, so neither of you, when you were kind of like talking about what you love about boss fights, neither of you mentioned that there needs to be a really easy kind of like replayability on auto, and this genre's.
And that's another key too, because in World of Warcraft, what is exciting about a boss encounter is playing the encounter. But that's because you're not doing the same boss encounter all day, every day. It's once, maybe twice a week, depending, if once you beat the boss, they're dead and you can't fight them again for a week. It's a once a week thing. Every raid boss can only be killed once a week. You're not in there farming it 20 hours a day. So it was a special event that you would do with a group of your friends rather than this thing that you're farming constantly all day, every day. So auto replayability in these types of games like Godforge is massive and super important. So I'm really excited to see what Simon says about this. Because there are some things that are cool about multiple genres, but they're not all going to translate into this one. You can't just plug and play.
Kind of, I guess we're not an AFK game, right? So we're not trying to be an AFK game, but also, you've got certain places in the game of this type of genre where once you've mastered it, the expectation is I should be able to do it on auto, and especially like farm points, I guess. So
I think it.
Yeah, go on.
Didn't want to button. No, what I was going to say is I think it comes down to a few things. Like I know we keep going back to raid as well, but with I guess loads of the main bosses like Chimera, the Hydra, the ones we're speaking about that are so hard, they're tied into like clans as well. It's not a singular player experience, but it kind of is in the way you play it. But the overall thing is you're doing it for your clan to get the ultimate reward, to get the final chest, right?
Yeah.
I think if it comes down to like maybe an individual reward or a leaderboard reward for someone that managed to do it the fastest, just thinking off the fly, I don't see why you can't have like one that isn't full auto. Like, you know, I don't know, it might just be me in La La Land. I'm not sure exactly what other people like, but for me, I think something immersive where, because I remember I was playing like Ethereum Restart, right? And I found it such a breath of fresh air for the time period I was playing. While I was doing a manual fight, I was like, I'm doing this. You know, it's not just some AI auto thing. I think it really comes down to the player.
I definitely think so. Through the alpha, I know our game pretty damn well.
Before Simon goes off on his topic, I want to touch on what YST said there. I think overcoming content for the first time, it feels rewarding and gratifying to do it on manual. The day one of Alpha 1, I did a 15-hour live stream, and I played on manual the entire freaking time because I was having so much fun playing the game, and it felt rewarding to do because I had not done it before. By the time I got to Wave 3, Alpha Wave 3, I was doing most of it on auto. Unless my team literally couldn't beat it on auto. Because I had done all of Wave 1, I had done all of Wave 2, and this was towards the end of Wave 3. So I had, put probably about 100 hours in at that point. I was ready to just auto it. But I still enjoyed the game. Once you beat something for the first time, or the second time, or the third time, eventually you get to a point where it does start becoming a chore, regardless of how fun it was to do the first time. And you must be able to do it on auto, period. Especially if it's something that you have to farm for a resource.
But still, as I was going towards the harder levels, I was manual in the fights because I needed to be able to get through the content. And eventually you kind of overpower it with your additional gear. Then actually you can come back to that point and have it as a farm point. But, and similarly, honestly, with Raid, if I'm playing a free-to-play series, often if I'm trying to grind up Doom Tower, I'm doing it manually because I can't, I physically, or it just won't work on auto, right? I'd have to save abilities for the right time. I need to get a bit of RNG luck as well on bosses. So like having it on auto for me is almost like, let's come back to that as a farm point. But I actually enjoy playing the game to get to the farm point. And again, there's definitely different types of players out there, different types of players that some players.
I think what Simon is saying 100% applies to how I feel about it. And I would argue the majority of players do as well. Most people don't want to have to manual it, though. I do know that one of my fellow Discord moderators on the Godforge Discord, Talus, he refuses to manual anything. It's actually kind of teasing him about it a little bit. He just wants to hit auto and let it run. He doesn't want to manual anything at all. But I guess he is right that there are different type of players out there. But for me, it's just really gratifying to do the puzzle and solve it and get that, like, I did it,
Probably will never take it off auto. And they'll just be like, damn, it's too hard. So, yeah.
Do you think it comes down to the time as well of the actual boss encounter? For example, some clan bosses might be 40 minutes, 50 minutes. Let's see if it's a manual experience, but it's 5 minutes.
What's a sweet spot for perhaps like a good fight length up to like, this is the max I feel like I want to do anything
It's manually. A good question. We've had so many debates in the team about this question.
For the most amount of time I would want to spend in a single fight, if we're talking doing it on manual, it depends on how badly, depends on the situation. If I'm progressing through the game for the first time and something is very hard, but I failed and I got close and I know I just need to try it again and just get a good run with better RNG, I might spend 30 to 45 minutes trying to do it before I die. Like I'll spend as much time as it takes for me to do it. If the fight takes me an hour and a half clicking each individual move on manual to beat it, because I know if I do that I can beat it, I will. But I don't want every encounter to feel that way, because then you get burnt out and exhausted, and you need, I don't know. It's a difficult question to answer.
For singular boss encounter, you mean, or a replayable one?
Singular boss encounter, well, I guess anything's replayable, right? But I don't mean like a quick fire dungeon gear grind. I mean for like, perhaps a tower boss or a clan boss type of vibe.
I'm not, for me, I'd probably say for a first time clearer, without going back to it later, probably in the region of 10 minutes is something I'd be comfortable with. And then obviously once you experience, you got all of your power and your level, come back to it. It's in like maybe a 4 or 5 minute job,
It also depends. It's going to be the heroes that they're using and the gear they have them equipped with are going to affect how long it takes you to complete a content. I'm the type of person who I will stretch the heroes and the gear that I have literally as far as I can go until I literally can't do anymore, and then I'll start to farm. There are other people who will lose their patience and say, okay, this is starting to get tough. Let me go farm some gear, and then I'll come back and do it on auto. So I don't think it's as easy as, oh, this fight should take 10 minutes, or this fight should take 30 minutes, or this fight should take an hour. It just depends on the heroes you're using and the gear they're equipped with and the quality of those things. So I don't think you can just specifically design an encounter like, oh, this should only take players 15 minutes. Because it's totally relative to the account.
Yeah, but I think 10 minutes for me is enough to be like, okay, that was tough and intense, but not too. It's not too long. Not short.
What do you think, Nubs?
Yeah, I lean short as well. Like I don't know. It's definitely personal preference. I prefer the shorter fights. I don't really like the long ones. And like I think about fights and other,
which is so funny because he's like the Hydra guy.
games and stuff as well, like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Again, like a lot of the end bosses are so long, and it's like, oh, okay.
And WoW, most bosses will have like a 10-minute enrage timer. So like if you don't kill the boss in 10 minutes, he just goes insane. His damage ramps up by like 50%, and he starts one-shotting people, like going on a rampage. So most bosses do have a timer on them. Or the soft timer is, well, the fight's been going so long, now all your healers are out of mana and your tanks start dying, right? So it's like it's one or the other.
Here we go, another pull. All right, another 12 minutes for Sylvanas final phase. Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm falling asleep here. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like manual play, like I don't know, like yeah, I could easily do like a half-hour live arena session in Raid and be like, that was cool. Or like an hour even. But
heck that, dude.
Yeah, like I think for longer boss fights, I think it is a bad thing in Raid that they can be. God, I mean, Hydra back in the day.
The only time I had a live arena fight last 30 minutes, it wasn't because I was equally matched with my opponent. Neither of us. I had one damage deal. This is in the early days. This is back when they were actually beta testing live arena. I was selected to participate in that. I made the mistake of only choosing one damage dealer, and my opponent made the mistake of only choosing one damage dealer, and we each banned the only damage dealer we selected for our team. So we just had a bunch of supports and tanks bouncing off each other for 30 minutes, and nobody wanted to give up because no one wanted to take the L. So it was just 30 minutes of like no progress being made. It was a miserable experience.
An hour or whatever, and there's no
right?
pause button. I'm like, especially for a mobile game.
The no pause button, that's big too. I think they need to design if they have a draft arena mode where like a normalized drafting arena mode, I want there to be an asynchronous queue so I could have a pause button in my matches. I can never do live arena because it's only open when I'm at work, and I can't play live arena when I'm at work because the live arena is a game mode that requires 100% of my undivided attention. And I play these games because I live a busy life and I don't have time to play World of Warcraft anymore. That's why I play Raid.
Boss fights, I think it is a bad thing in Raid that they can be. God, I mean, Hydra back in the day could be an hour or whatever, and there's no pause button. I'm like, especially for a mobile game, that's just crazy. There's no pause and resume.
Because I think it's interesting. Like when we think about a game mode, so we've got like a draft mode that we're adding in, where like drafting heroes, it's like a normalized mode. There'll be an end boss, and so when we're talking about what does the overall length of time for that mode look like, we're talking about something like a 20-minute hit of content, so 20 to 30 minutes. But you could come back to it if you're like halfway in and you need to go do something else. But when it comes to a boss fight, like you say, when it's
so for this specifically in the normalized draft mode, I think 3 to 5 minutes for a boss fight, because the intent is that it's a single session. Like I'm in the mood for a session. I want to sit down, play through this, get to the top or die trying, right? Like start to finish, I think 30 minutes is like the max if you're having a really good run. I didn't realize that's what he was talking about. I thought he was talking about like in general.
When it's like a manual fight, I think even in alpha, some of our boss fights were longer than I think they should be. And there's an element there. So let's take Fafnir. If you were manualing Fafnir to beat Fafnir, it was probably 10 minutes, I think, for players. And it was like towards the top end of what that should be. But then we had wave 1, wave 2 Fafnir. So again, potentially you can pull out the waves to just go straight into a boss. But it does completely change the whole makeup of what you need in a team to be able to, because then you're literally just, I'm picking.
Did he just accidentally leak that Fafnir will be a boss in the draft mode? I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was just using it as an example, but he went from talking about the draft mode and the bosses, and then let's listen to the full context of that sentence.
To just go straight into a boss end of what that should be. But then we had wave 1, wave 2 Fafnir. So again, potentially you can pull out the waves to just go straight into a boss.
I don't know.
But it does completely change the whole makeup of what you need in a team to be able to, because then you're literally just, I'm picking heroes that are just going to be able to beat this boss, rather than I've got sort of two things on my mind. Can I get to the boss, and then can I beat the boss? So I guess, do you have a preference there? Would you rather there were more?
So for the draft mode, I think the boss fights should just be the boss fights. I think if you want to have waves of enemies between each boss fight, so like Spider, where you zone in, you're immediately fighting the boss, or like in the Cursed City, right? To me, that's what the boss floors should be in the draft mode. You go, it's like I think back to Slay the Spire, right? You're fighting through these waves, and you get to the boss. You don't have to clear a wave of enemies before you fight the boss. You just go right into the boss fight. That's what I envision in my mind. Yeah.
Events where you run straight into a boss, or do you kind of like the idea of having to have a team that does two?
I think for dungeons, it's fine to have waves before the boss because it affects team building, but I don't know.
Things.
I'll jump in. I say I probably prefer the team that does more things, and even bringing it back to what you were talking about with like phases to a boss fight as well. I think for like manual play, if it's just really tedious just going through the motions, I think that's where a longer fight gets really boring. Like, I wouldn't want in Raid to manual my Demon Lord key, and it's just doing it's very simple. I'm just same rotation over and over again, which I guess it was back in the day. I would hate that.
I loved it.
Yeah, but if you're like making interesting decisions, and it's like, okay, well, I'm getting through phase 1. He's about to go to phase 2. Okay, I want to make sure I've got my abilities ready to go. I'm into phase 2. Okay, I want to fire things off like this. Like then that really, I think, extends the life. Like I think if you could have a longer fight, like if there's interesting decision making happening throughout it, that's where you can have it be longer, and it can feel actually really cool and actually super epic, and you've overcome something amazing. Whereas, if it's like half an hour of doing the same exact thing 100 times over and over again, that's where I'm like, that half an hour starts to feel very long.
Yeah.
Let's use Doom Tower Hard, or just Doom Tower in general, as an example for what I'm about to say. Okay, so when I'm pushing through Doom Tower, I expect the bosses to be challenging. And there's some of them who I cannot auto. I have to manual them to beat them because I don't have my team fully fleshed out and ironed out. I don't mind manualing it to beat it the first time it comes through in that rotation. But then if I'm going to farm it, like, if I can't do it on auto, I'm not going to manual farm my 15 keys. Like, if there was something that allowed you to, once you've beaten it, that rotation, to go in and just hit like auto complete to use the rest of your keys, I think that would be cool. But I've already proven that I can beat it. I can't be bothered to spend the time to do it manually again and again and again and again, especially if it takes like 30 minutes. Like it would literally take me all day to use my keys. I think that's silly. I don't know. But then the next day, I get to the next Doom Tower boss. I auto the waves. Some of them I might manual if they're difficult. If I can't full auto the waves, I'll take over just to get past them once, and then start hitting auto again. Auto climb till you get to the boss. You get to the boss. All right, boss time, let's go. Manual the boss just to beat it and get it done with so I can make that progression, and then I'm done manualing it for the rest of the day. I think that's perfectly acceptable. That might even be too much for some people, but for me, I'm perfectly fine doing that, because once I've beaten it and I've made that progression, I don't have to do it again. And to me, that's kind of the sweet spot. If I had to farm it like that every day, absolutely not.
Especially if it's a daily half an hour that you got to try and squeeze in.
Yeah.
And what do you think then about teaming up with somebody else to let's say we drop a world boss, and the expectation is to really do well against this fight, you need 3 of you going in and having some sort of synergy in terms of the way you play. You could go in just with a couple of randos and hope they're not brain dead, but ultimately you're going to do better if you go in with people and you could jump on comms or whatever you want to do. But
he's clearly fishing. It sounds like this is something they're debating and talking about internally. I don't like this idea, man. Like, I don't want to have to rely on other people to get my daily shit done. My schedule is my schedule. I cannot bend it to other people's free time. I have literally such a tight, strict schedule. The only reason I'm doing this tonight is because I took the day off work because my daughter had a concert for her choir. I wanted to go see my daughter's choir concert today. So I took today off work. I would not normally have time to do this, but I'm not working today. So here I am. When I have the availability to do the thing is when I have the availability to do the thing. And if none of my other clanmates who I know and trust and whatever aren't available at the moment that I am, it means I'm not going to be able to do it with people who I trust and know and am friends with. I'm going to have to rely on some randoms, and it's going to be frustrating. I just, this isn't an MMO. It's a mobile game. If you want to build a cool MMO, build a cool MMO. But don't try to force these like MMO things into a mobile game. I think I understand that a large majority of the team came from World of Warcraft and they have past experience in MMOs. And those things can be cool and fun, but you have to keep your target audience in mind. We don't play MMOs because we don't have time to sync our. I don't have time to do a raid night every Friday night like I used to. It's not. I play mobile games because I don't have time for that stuff anymore. So I am personally, I'm opposed. If it was such that you can set up a team that your clanmates could borrow, like, hey, if you guys are going to fight the world boss, here are my 5 heroes that I can contribute to you, and you can use those, but I don't have to be there to control them. That's one thing. But if they have to be there at the same time with me, and there's 15 heroes on the field, I control 5, they control 5, and they control 5, and each one of us is taking our turn independently, and I gotta wait for the other 14 heroes to go before I can take my turn, hell no. Hell no. Absolutely not. So if that's what you're thinking, please God, no.
Ultimately, like, you go in there with an idea of I'm gonna fulfill a role,
Yeah.
How do you feel about that in this type of game, in a mobile game, that type of content?
That was actually that was the thing I was going to go into straight after Nubs was, is there going to be any kind of co-op mode? Like, for me anyway, I know it's nothing to do with like turn-based RPGs, but I'm a massive zombies player, have been for like probably 10 years or something. And when I think about some of the most epic boss fights that I have had in my lifetime, it's been completing the Easter egg steps, getting to the boss, dealing with the phases, and it's intense as heck. But going back to what you're saying about the randos, it's like when you have a random on your team, you're like, damn, like, we've made it to the boss, guys. I've carried you all this way. And then we just lose to the boss. You're like, fuck, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
But obviously on the other hand, it's obviously one of the most popular things to do. Jump on with your boys. Yo, we're going to go take down this boss today, So it's a real tough one. Like, if you get the matchmaking right, maybe like an average damage play is done or an average team protection they've done, I think that's where the randoms could come into the play. And is there going to be a replay button for it? Is it a one-time with these randoms? It's all the questions.
Yeah, so let's imagine then.
It could be an interesting way to meet people and make friends in the game, but it sounds like it will just lead to more frustration than anything, in my opinion. Because like, what if they don't understand the fight? What if they bring the wrong heroes? What if they're using their cooldowns at the wrong time? Like, I don't know, man.
We use world boss as a thing, so it's not going to be for our like MVP early access build, but we are going to be dropping either like a co-op boss mode or a world boss mode, or the two of them together. But the idea is, the idea at the moment is there will be some sort of co-op gameplay to it. Now, I guess
he's so close. He's like trying not to leak. I can just see it all over his face. He's just like,
but we're working through mechanics with it, right? Because if it was, I'm just going to go in there with my squad and you're going in with your squad, it still feels very solo gameplay.
Like Etheria, right? They tried it with the co-op triple
their one was
dragon.
like literally we're just watching a boss fight.
It wasn't
playing the game.
Yeah,
and we definitely want it to feel like if I am in the zone and working with people that understand how to try and get something out of this fight, then let's say the sort of vibe we're going for is our heroes are actually on auto, so we're not controlling skill by skill what they're doing. We can control heroes that come in, but then I almost have like a couple of godlike functions as a role. So I might be the support, and I can choose from almost like, imagine a mastery tree of support type options. So it could be okay, I'm going to enhance shields by 200%, and it's on a cooldown. So you have to pick the right times to be able to play your abilities, but you might be able to synergize your ability with an offensive ability from someone else. That when I've got enhanced shields, I do 4 times the damage or whatever it is. Like basically an idea of if we really work together, we could blitz through the enraged moment, or we can protect our team versus this kind of like colossal amounts of damage. If we don't really synergize together, then we'll get some work done, but ultimately you're probably going to fail. Or if you don't,
unless you're in a Discord call with the people you're doing this with and you can communicate in real time, I don't think that's going to work. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I appreciate that they're trying to do something innovative, but at the same time, you have to remember what genre you're creating this game mode for. This is a mobile game where people who don't have time to play real games come, like, I don't know, man. I don't want to like crap on their creativity, but this sounds very stressful, and I think it will be difficult for players like myself who don't have time for that kind of stuff. When does it start for all players? The early access is set to begin early 2026. The last dates we heard, I think Simon said late February, early March, but that obviously that is subject to change.
Pick the right abilities that work together, then so
I think it's the challenge of cooperative, because it's a mobile game. Even though we're not a native K game, you still got to try and communicate in a mobile environment when I got 30 minutes on a train or something like that. And if you really want a true cooperative, and this is my feat, this is when I looked at Ethereum Restart, I kind of looked at that system. We were talking a lot about co-op systems at the time. I was like, oh, cool, Ethereum Restart, I've got a co-op. And I looked and I was like, it's not really cooperative. It's you pick the team, I pick the team, and I put some of my heroes on the other team, and that's it. Like, I don't control, my choices don't affect you. And for me, for a true cooperative experience, it should be, okay, Simon is picking Hercules on his team. Now I'm making decisions based on that team. We put a team together, then the battle is making us choose. It's making us work together. I can empower your Hercules.
If this was just like a cool, fun thing that you could do, that's one thing. But if it's like a game mode that like with huge rewards that you have to participate in to like min-max your account, like it's just going to be miserable for people who don't have time to do it. But if it was just like a cool, fun thing, like, hey, this is neat event going on. Are you busy? No? Cool. Hey, let's work together and come on, hop in a Discord call with me. We'll coordinate everything that we're doing. Like, that's another thing entirely. But if it's something that's like part of the daily grind, like I would not want this at all.
It might come at a cost at my team, but you're gonna take the front. I've got really good support healers. I'm gonna keep you alive so that you can be the leader of this team. That's cooperative. And it's the balance of, if you go too far and it's too complex for a player to understand the choices, or there's not enough communication streams. It's like, that's what
the communication. Again, that's what I'm saying about the Discord call.
we're trying to balance at the moment. I want that experience in the game, that what Simon picks is something that I will then pick as a choice, and then the game throws me choices that I have to choose with that person for the best outcome for us. And that's when you get a lot of fun. But you can also create a lot of problems of, to your point, YST, like what if that person doesn't talk to me? Now the game mode dies.
And what if a person goes offline? So let's say my internet.
That's another point too. Like, what if I'm at work? I think I've got time to do this, and all of a sudden something comes up, and I got to run. Like, oh, sorry, bro. You have to lose now because I'm busy trying to play my mobile game at work. Like, I don't know.
Drops. Not that it's done that today. Like, I had 2 power cuts in a row whilst recording the podcast. Does the podcast carry on? And basically, but in this type of game, you need for, let's say my power does drop, you need for at least my team to go on auto mode. Now, you might not get the benefit of like the power ups, but you've still got something going on. We see it in like.
I think these ideas are cool ideas that they should implement in a different game in the future. I don't think these should go into Godforge. Like, too much reliance on other players in real time just sounds like a nightmare for me.
Things like live arena, if somebody drops connection that you're playing against, it's very frustrating, right? So it's
the one that basically waits 30 seconds every single time to pick a team, and you're like, wow, it's taken me 5 minutes to pick my team, and then you go and you get one shot. I'm like, could we have just skipped this? Just all of that. Like, just kill me up front. This is what we're gonna do.
We've always said that. Like, does that game mode idea sound fun? Firstly, and like, how often would you want to engage with a game mode like that if you do think it's fun?
Go nuts.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds great. I mean, I love the idea of co-op games. I think,
and I do too, but I don't think this mobile turn-based hero collector RPG should be turned into a co-op game. Like, I think it should be kept separate. It's antithetical to the genre, in my opinion.
Like, I'm a big believer that Raid has been so successful in large part because it does create that sense of community and that you're playing with other players and against other players.
But you never specifically rely on them in real time. That's the key.
As well, but I think working with your clan and also the sort of friendly competition as well is fun. Like, I'm fighting the boss with me and YST are teaming up, but I want to beat him.
Yeah,
I gotta impress him with my whatever, my Oda.
See, I think there's if Raid implemented a system where you could do a live arena battle against one of your friends or clanmates, that would be cool. But it wouldn't be a required part of your daily gameplay loop. It would just be a cool, fun activity that you could take part in if you have time and the other person thinks it would also be fun. You can invite them, they could accept or decline, whatever. But at no point have they ever required you to cooperate with another human being in real time because they understand who their target audience is.
I want to smash these guys. And, yeah, that's really fun. So I love that idea. Yeah, I think the co-op modes that's a really cool idea. I enjoyed the one in Etheria. I thought again like it was very simple, but I still liked that it was there. I was like, that's actually fun. It's cool. Yeah.
I didn't play Etheria. Now I kind of want to. I did for like 4 hours, but I kind of want to like see what that co-op mode is like, just so I have a baseline for what he's talking about.
It's like
I actually think that was the first time I've seen, well, for me anyway, co-op in like a mobile game like that. So for me, it was like I can't really judge it off what other games have done because I don't know.
Talking to your competitive point, I remember so many times doing like WoW raiding, and I was like a little gnome mage. So although I'm just out there doing DPS, I really want to be top of the DPS charts. And, it was like this hunter that would do crazy damage. There was 2 other mages that were good at, and we've all got pretty similar gear. But I'm like, no, I am min-maxing. Pushing my buttons right now.
Like you've got hotkeys on rotations, like 1, 3, 5.
It's like it becomes like a real, a real thing. And I had the same thing definitely when I sort of started out in Raid and we were looking at like clan boss scores. I was actually the guy that was manual clan boss in the early days because I was min-maxing my team.
I manual clan boss probably like the first month or 2 that I played Raid also. But eventually I got sick of it and I just started hitting auto because I couldn't be bothered.
We didn't have anywhere near the same sort of level of OP teams that exist nowadays. It was very much like when they dropped Nightmare Clan Boss, it was hard. It was really, really hard to even 4-key it with the sort of early stuff. So, but I enjoyed it. I literally, I was at work, and I never had so many like long toilet breaks. It was literally like, I'm in there. Unless I thought I had something seriously wrong with me. I was in there like doing my clan boss key. I was like, yeah, I need to get it done so that it doesn't, refresh.
I mean,
Oh, man.
one of the dangers with co-op though as well is that it can be really annoying when your teammates like you're in the WoW raid and you're like, hey, that little gnome, Simon on the gnome. It's like you got the bomb on you. You got to get out. And you're just like, pew pew pew. I'm doing so much damage. Like Simon, you got to kill everyone dies. You're like,
Yeah,
oh
it was
done it again,
It's
guys.
like, ice block, god damn it.
Yeah, it's the
What
classic
are you
thing, isn't it? It's
doing?
like the tank goes in, get threat, and it's like the hunter behind him's like, let me just use my biggest, most powerful shot and just instantly steal all the threat because they did 100 million damage. And like, dude, let the tanks get threat first, please. Like,
Yeah, man, that's
give it a
funny.
moment. There was actually one moment in one of the boss fights in Lord of the Rings Online, one of the first dungeons they had with Rift, and you had to go fight these twins. But there was a mission you had to do, which was in the dungeon.
Few people are watching. I'd be curious to hear you guys' thoughts. Am I totally off base with my opinions on the co-op stuff, or do you guys kind of agree with me?
Like a quest, and it was to get the mushroom. And I swear they developed it to put the mushroom really close to the aggro point. So you'd like tell everyone, like, don't worry, guys. But there was only like 12 people, and there's only like 3 mushrooms. So, it was like that. I want to get my quest done. Every single raid, we're like, don't worry, guys, we'll kill the boss, then you can get your mushroom. Every time someone just, I think I can creep a little bit forward and pick up that mushroom, aggro the boss, wipe the raid, and you're like, who got the mushroom? It's like,
Why? Why
Did you get the mushroom?
It used to be the bane of our existence in raiding. It's like, you bring the random with you, and they always want the mushroom first because they think they're going to miss out. So co-op is definitely the fun in these games, but it's so, especially in our era these days where games need to be a lot more, to your point, Simon, like pick up and go kind of vibes. It's like trying to find the balance. How do we make it true co-op, but not, I think the area did a pretty good approach at it, but I think they just went so far into the, well, once it's done, it's done. Like now I'm just watching the fight. I can't do anything. If we can introduce a little bit more of that, like cooperative choice, and I think that is really interesting then for a player's perspective. But keep it simple. Like you get some choice gates,
Yeah.
And I'm curious as well. Oh, sorry, no, go on.
I was just going to say one thing that Etheria did and a few of the other games do as well, pretty common, but it's super fun, I think, is when you can like loan out one of your characters to other players.
And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, I wouldn't mind if the co-op boss, you just select one of your clanmates and borrow their team that they have set for it. That's one thing. And then you can even communicate like, hey, do you have this hero? Could you put this hero on your co-op offering team because I lack this effect on my team? So if you have a hero who can do that, I can synergize with what I've got. I don't know. Like, I really don't like the idea of being forced to cooperate with other players in real time in a game like this. Like, it's different when you're playing an MMO because that's the whole point of an MMO. In a AFK mobile game, they're not an AFK game, but in a mobile game where you work to get your things so you can do them on auto in the background while you live your life, forcing players to engage in real-time co-op battles, just I don't like it, man. I don't think it should be there.
Like, it's just such a feel-good thing, It's like, oh, I never pulled this.
And what I'm scared of is a lot of people aren't thinking that through. They might hear like, oh, co-op, that sounds so exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait. And they'll tell Fateless, like, it's such a good idea. And what's going to really happen is the game's going to come out. These features are going to be in it. And no one's going to like it because of the forced... I don't know, man. I don't know.
This one really good character for this thing. Oh, I can borrow it off my friend. And then I can put up my characters and they can borrow it. And like that feels really good. You're like, oh, people are using my character. This is great. I'm helping out. Yeah. I get to borrow their characters.
Do you feel like that should be anywhere in the game, or is it?
I'm actually going to leave a comment so I don't forget. I want to make sure I get this feedback and they see it, because there's no guarantee that they're going to read or watch this live stream of me watching a video that they already put out. So I'm going to take this time to gather my thoughts and write them out. I think co-op in MMOs is great. It's part of the expected experience. I think I spelled that right, yeah. But in a mobile game like this, where everyone expects to be able to farm things on auto on their own time, forcing cooperative battles for real-time encounters is antithetical. Did I spell that right? To the expected experience. Did I spell that right? Okay. I would not like to see forced co-op gameplay in Godforge. Let's go on a bit so they don't think I'm just being mean. I think these game modes could be cool in a game of a different genre where co-op is expected. So, I don't know. I just need to make sure my feedback is heard. All right. Because, again, I don't know if they're going to watch this.
It's like actually in certain boss environments.
Thank you, Kerensky. I think so too. I also think I have valid points, but if it's okay if you guys disagree with me, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I really would like to hear if you think I'm talking crazy, or if you think I'm cooking here, because I've been waiting 2.5 years for this game to come out. Almost. Yeah, it'll be like 2.5 years this December. So I've been waiting a very long time for this game to come out. I'm very excited to see what they cook up. But what I don't want is it to turn out that I can't play the game because I can never find a partner to do these co-op things with on my crazy tight schedule. Because my crazy tight schedule is the reason I play these types of games. So, I don't know. I just hope they keep their target player base in mind when they're designing game modes. These sound like really cool features for an MMO where forced co-op is expected. It's the whole point of an MMO. But the whole point of a mobile game is that you can play it when you want, how you want, anytime, anywhere, any place. You squeeze it into your busy life because you don't have time to play real games like World of Warcraft, etc.
Where it's like
it's often like for the clan boss equivalent, yeah, or like farming stuff, but it won't be for like major challenge stuff per se. Like in Etheria, for example, it was for it was, I think, maybe mostly just for the clan boss, if only that. I'm trying to remember now. Whereas like in Honkai Star Rail, you can borrow stuff for like farming, but you can't borrow it for any of like the actual like end game bosses. You have to use your own things. So
yeah,
I think there's different ways to do it, but it's just a really nice thing to have in there somewhere. And it's just like a fun little thing.
Yeah, we've definitely been back and forth on this one because so I played a lot of Watcher of Realms, and you could do it in Watcher of Realms. I think you could do it on any content, if I remember rightly. I'm pretty sure you could. And but what you couldn't do was like, so in Watcher of Realms you could save a run. It's a tower defense, so it's more about positioning your heroes in the right place at the right time. with the resource you've got. So you couldn't save a run if you borrowed someone else's hero, which meant that you always had to manual it. Basically, you always had to manual if you borrowed. But it was fun. I got to try out heroes that I never had before in like the clan boss, and got some really cool scores for that. But I guess we also had an example, which was was it Magi Raid? What's the game called?
Infinite
It sounds
Raid,
very
Infinite?
similar, like Raid Shadow Legends. But
Or was it Awakened Chaos Era?
Oh, maybe it was Awakened Chaos.
think
Ace,
it's that
yeah,
one.
it was actually. Yeah, you're right.
Ace.
Ace,
I think I tried
where
that briefly.
there was like this big AoE hitting dude, and if someone had that at like level 60 and I borrowed it, I would just clear like all content,
Yeah,
and everybody lent out this same dude, and it was just made the game really boring, honestly. So yeah, it's just like where you can do it, and like should there be almost like a level difference cap or something? Like if your average level of your team is like 50, maybe you can't use a 60. I don't know. There feels like there needs to be something in there so that it doesn't just like make the content seem.
It's the balance. I feel like we've in the design team, well, not so much the design team, but when we were talking about lots of different ideas, we were always on this like polar opposites, but not that far apart. It's like we won't really want like collaborative sharing, and then I'm on the other side going, well, there's a curse to this, and like there's actually you can get to a negative experience where players don't have the same connection with their heroes because their progression feels shallow because someone else's hero got them. They got the first mountain or roadblock they hit. They went and got a special hero from a friend and they just beat it. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not now attached to my own.
That's a really good point. I think you, Karinsky, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging out. I think Paul has a really good point here. And that's something that I'm very passionate about, is like feeling that sense of accomplishment. Like I did it myself. I live for that. That is such a high to me in everything that I do in my life. Like just I like doing things myself because I want to feel accomplished when I do. I'm addicted to that feeling.
Progression. I don't remember that first time that I beat Bommel or the first time that I did this because I just borrowed YST's bomb guy and he just one-shot Bommel for me, and then I don't have to think about it anymore. It's done. So I think if there's a game mode in every game that can support it. But I think to your point, there are some games that they've done it like just loan it out, but then it might work for the way that their game is structured. But I think for our game, I'm very keen to make sure that people feel like they've got a really strong connection to their own progression. Draft mode, I think, is actually like.
I absolutely love where his head is at and that on that topic. I absolutely agree with Saphira here.
I think that's going to be the place that we look at it, to be honest, where it's almost like maybe it's potentially some of the options you get as you go through that kind of normalized experience. Actually, it's not normalized based on something else, but normalized on your Pantheon members or your player members, or that sort of stuff where your progression is less important, but the experience is more important. So it's a challenge because we absolutely want, you always want to have people going, here's my hero, look how powerful it is. Because that experience of going, I have got the best, I don't know, Carnage in the game. I've got a 6-star Carnage in Raid Shadow Legends. Watch it blow everything up. Super fun. But it comes at a price if you give it to someone then, because they're going to go, oh, I'll borrow that. Let me go kill this content. How easy that was.
There just has to be rules, right? So it'll be like, this particular hero is only allowed to be lent out so many times in a day. So, if you're the lucky person that gets that Carnage, great, but maybe you won't tomorrow or whatever. And it can only be for.
I just don't like borrowing heroes to beat content. Like if it was a game mode designed for players to collaborate, and the way that collaboration happens is by lending your heroes to your clanmates and stuff, that's different. But borrowing a hero to overcome obstacles and content that you're stuck on, I don't like that. I know a lot of people do, but I don't. To Paul's point, I 100% agree with his take on that, honestly.
Certain game modes, I think, but it's definitely interesting. I definitely found it fun in certain game modes on Watcher of Realms. I was going to ask something a bit different. I was going to ask about if we dropped a world boss, let's say it's unannounced, which is always a touchy subject in this type of game nowadays. People love very long announcements on when stuff's going to happen. But let's just say we dropped it as this weekend. Suddenly on Friday we dropped a world boss. It was completely unannounced and it goes away on Monday. And there's potential decent loot from that.
I think a 4-day window to complete to get your is fine. I think if it showed up for like 2 hours, then it's gone. Hell no. Because I'm asleep during the daytime when most people are awake. So it would probably always, to try to hit the peak hours of gameplay, would probably always happen while I'm sleeping. But I think if it drops on Friday and disappears on at the end of the day, Monday, like you give people 4 days to, you know, find time to go do it, I think that's perfectly acceptable. And it would be exciting and fun.
I would call a premium item that you could get.
Exclusively premium.
Yeah, but not like
unavailable ever again.
Exclusive hero, but like something which is pretty high level currency. So I guess firstly, how does that feel? Are you like, that's fine because I'm just going to get on my Discord channel to my Pantheon and be like, guys, get in the game. This has dropped.
I think doing it on weekends is good too. Like if they did it like on a like Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, that would be annoying to me because I wouldn't be able to make content about it because of my work schedule. But if it was happened on the weekend, I'm like, oh, it dropped on Friday. Well, I'm off Saturday. I'll do a live stream. We'll take on the World Boss live on stream. I can plan for, like, as long as people have time to get ready for it, it's fine.
We need your help. Or are you thinking, I don't like this kind of like sense of urgency and not knowing?
Do you want to go first?
Maybe
go for it. I'm still thinking.
Okay.
I mean, I personally, I love that. I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, like that's definitely something I love. I think to like World of Warcraft of like, oh guys, like this world quest is up that gives like this trinket that's super OP. Like, oh shit, yeah, I gotta log in and go get that.
What's interesting about World of Warcraft 2 is like, especially in Classic when they had world bosses, when the world boss is up, like, oh, the world boss is up. We got to get there before any other guilds get there, and we got to attack it first. Rally the troops, let's go. But again, that's an MMO. People are expected to live on the online in the MMO for like 12 hours a day every day. So it's different. But I don't know. It's stuff like that is cool. But I think if it was a 4-day window, that's perfectly fine. If it's a 3-hour window, absolutely not.
ASAP.
A 3-hour window for 1 day only, like hell no.
I think that can be really fun, but like, I'm a pretty hardcore gamer, so yeah, you connect.
That's a good point too. The people on this podcast and myself, pretty hardcore with mentality for gaming. Otherwise, we wouldn't be making content about it. We care more about it than the average player. Most average people, I'd be interested to hear more normies' opinions on Unlimited Time World Boss.
In with the discords and the communities, and you're getting pinged about this stuff and checking it all the time. But I think it's a really fun idea to have like, something that there are events happening in the game that are actually really worthwhile doing and unique and different, and there's fun surprises. And yeah, like, hey, even if you miss one, it's like, oh well, maybe there'll be something else next week or next month or something like that. I personally love that idea. I don't know what you think,
because the nostalgia of this for me, I'll come to you in a sec, YST. The nostalgia for me is I used to play Star Wars Galaxies, which was again like an MMO before World of Warcraft came out. It was a really fun game, and you might just like stumble across a crate dragon, which was like one of the hardest enemies to face, but also dropped items that helped you actually create like your lightsaber. Okay, so extremely high reward, very hard to kill. Like if you came across it, it was possible to solo it, but it was like a 3-hour grind, and you have to be the exact right class, that sort of stuff. But generally, it was like, no, we need to pull everyone in, and really, we want to get this kill before someone else does because we want the loot from.
But that's an MMO though. You like that's the type of gameplay that is expected from an MMO. You're designing a mobile game right now. It's a completely different animal.
And but it was like we'd go crate hunting. It was like, we know this area. We'll try and find one. You might not find one in 2 days, but when you do, it's such a great moment. So it's slightly different feel because we're in a mobile game and we're not like roaming open world. But I used to love that. But again, I'm a hardcore gamer that would go looking for them for 2 days, right, without finding one. So again, it's not for all, but the nostalgia for me is like, I love something that just feels like it's not just telegraphed, and and perhaps we need to think on our feet a little bit in terms of how to deal with the situation. Like how
it would be cool if when the world boss drops, we don't know. Like might be something we've never seen before, and we got to go in and look at its abilities and craft a special team on the fly. Like it wouldn't be able to be, if that were the case, it wouldn't be able to be anything like severely complicated. But overall, I think it could be it's a really interesting idea
to deal with the boss. But yeah, Wise T, you're gonna jump in.
Yeah, I was just letting it simmer a little bit in my brain. I'm trying to disconnect like what I would, for me personally, I would love it. I'm trying to think from a community standpoint, is it too prompt? It really comes down to the player, man. I think, so how would you introduce it? Would it be like, as you sign into the game, it's like an animation, you're world boss here, like, you know, or...
I think so. And I think we would probably, you know, you can do like push notifications on games nowadays. There would probably be like you know, this world boss has just dropped in this area of the game. And there would be like a news announcement within game. So there'll be just like a few signals. And
I think that would be cool. It, like, as long as they're not like doing crazy pop-ups like raid constantly all the time. I saw your post on Discord. I just didn't acknowledge it because I'm streaming, but what's up, Anthony? Because pop-ups are so prevalent in raid, I have developed the muscle memory to click the X. So if they have a really important news notification like, hey, world boss just dropped, it needs to be a special thing. If they bombard us with pop-ups the way raid does, a lot of people just auto-click it and miss the fact that there's something exciting going on.
And it won't be like, oh, okay, we're doing this once a year. Let's say we do it once a month, but it's slightly randomized when it's going to happen. So
I think it's pretty cool.
But
for some reason, I do kind of like a random thing in a sense. Like we're so used to these games, where it's like the same structure year on year on year. I mean, there's nothing spicing it up. So from that aspect, I think, yeah, it makes you feel intrigued to be like, oh, what's happening in Godforge today? You know?
I agree with YST here. And there's also like an anticipatory aspect to it where like, oh, dude, we're 3 weeks into the month and we haven't seen the world boss yet. Like, we know it's going to be dropping sometime this week, you know, or whatever. Like, people can get excited for it. And then maybe they could totally throw us a curveball. Like, we hit the world boss. And then like day 2 of the next month, it's like, boom, back to back. Like, oh, like again? What? Like, I don't know. It'd be cool if it was random like that, or you couldn't expect it.
We don't know. But that bit of the unknown.
As long as the mechanics weren't too crazy, especially if it was a limited time event.
So yeah, no, I think overall, plus side, I'd be down for that, yeah.
okay,
It's interesting. It's the challenge really between...
It's a challenge.
Well, there's a challenge between players love regularity. As much as we will sit here and say we don't like it, we like the fact there's a daily quest that tells us what we need to do. We like the fact that there's, do you know what I mean? Like, imagine there's not a monthly fusion. You see the raid community going absolutely berserk. Where's the fusion? The fusion's not here. We don't like this. This is wrong.
But do you not remember, Paul, like before they had this extreme regularity around like a 2-time summoning event, it used to be a case of, I wonder when they're going to do it next. And when it came, it was exciting. It was like, who's ready for it?
It's a balance, isn't it?
It was fun. But when it's all the time, it gets to the point where it's mundane.
Well, that's not even a schedule then. That's just on all time. And that's the problem with raid.
Well, no,
right?
but I mean, it was
always
like,
a summon event.
This weekend, it's going to be this one. Okay, in 2 weeks, we know it's this one.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be that way. It used to be very irregular. And they probably made less money, but I think it was more fun as a player to be like, it's exciting. Like when it actually drops, you're like, okay, we've got this event and I'm all in for it. Now it's a bit different with bosses and stuff, but I think it's the same sort of vibe.
I think there's definitely a contrast between, like, obviously we're speaking about world boss and events. I think some form of regularity with events, I think is fine. Like if you know when a fusion's coming, what can you expect in a fusion? I think that's a bit disconnected to what, you know, a limited boss that pops out of nowhere and he looks badass and I want to take this guy down, you know? I think it's a little bit different. So
yeah, and I think it's a case of certainly from my point of view is making sure that we don't create a negative experience by the limited aspect of it. So if a person didn't have an opportunity to get online, then you could create, like, you have to almost like give a window in space and time that someone can act on it, and it's very difficult when you're playing a world. That's
exactly what I was saying as well, especially with this genre. It again, I've said it a million times. With an MMO, it's like people who play MMOs play them because they're a huge time sink and they have 8 to 12 hours to play every day, and they're in there every day. It's different than the mobile game.
Warcraft or anything like that. Even then, like with raids, we would always kind of stretch to it like 7 o'clock. This is when we're going to go for it, guys. We're going to go try and do it. Or to your point, Simon, it's like we're going to set out some schedule to go hunting for it. But then you can find that space. So it's not necessarily a schedule, but it's at least a moment in time that I have the capacity to be available. And that's the challenge with these things. Actually, I think it can work really well. You just have to give it a much less regular outcome. You never know when it's going to happen, but when it does happen, you have a moment in time where you can get online and it's not over in a blip, because that can easily turn the other way to a player's experience where they feel like, well, I would love to, but by the time I knew about it, it was gone.
Yeah, I do think
that, again, Saphira nailing it. I've pretty much agreed with every take that Saphira's had in this video.
as well, like it depends what you do around capturing your performance or your your effort into this boss. So let's say it always records your maximum score, your maximum damage, whatever we want to call it. But I could team up with, say, YST and Nubs. I could then actually team up with you, Paul, and one other random, and whichever of my best score is captured, but also all of your individual best scores are captured, so that and equally, if like I don't have any pals on that I could play with, then I could just team up with two randoms and still hit the boss. So at least I could get some participation. So I think as long as you give choice and perhaps the ability to just go again and try and beat what you've done so far.
That's kind of interesting. I like that aspect of it too. Yeah, I tend to agree, DLDS. What was I about to say? Oh, like time window. Yeah, so I think if it's up for like a week and you can hit it multiple times, like an unlimited amount of times, like going once, see what it's like, get an idea for it, read the skills. All right, well, I was dying to this. Let's make some adjustments to my team. I'll go in and try it again. And you just pound at it for a week. You just pound at it all week until like, and it just saves your highest score, and then you get rewards based on your high score. That could be kind of cool, especially since they don't charge you for gear removal in Godforge. Maybe Joyby will pop in here pretty soon and give you some coffee. I don't know. We'll see. She's usually asleep at this hour, though.
Some people will, try tons of different teams, and that could be fun. Some people will just be like, I've hit it once. I'm going to get some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I think it's the sort of thing where actually creating that friction of like, oh yeah, it's just up for this weekend. There's great rewards. If I miss it, I've missed out. Like that's where you get people hooked on the game as well. Like that's where you get people really hardcore, and you're like, I want to make sure like I'm super invested. I'm building up a good friend group because I want to know about this stuff. I want to smash it. I'm gonna get like cool stuff to show off if I do. And yeah, I mean, I think it's that if you don't do it, you miss out. That the FOMO.
Yeah. I guess we could signpost it a bit. We could be like on the Monday, the moons are aligning in the Aru section, whatever.
Teaser,
some sort of teaser of. Yeah. By the way, something's coming.
Odin's eye is itchy. Ooh, what's happening?
yeah.
And I think that actually
he forgot to put gold bond on his eye patch.
Better anyway, right? Because I think what you do is now
you probably wouldn't put gold bond. Whatever he puts in there to keep her from getting itchy.
You encourage investigation, which I think there's a joy of randomness. Oh, I found the goblins in Diablo 3. I found a huge pack of goblins. That's really exciting. But there's also a joy of I need to try and find the secret cow level. Let me go spend 4 hours trying to think about if I do this in this combination. I found another secret clue towards the secret cow level. And I think in our game, trying to recreate that goblin discovery experience is quite hard to do it fairly. But actually, if you find a middle ground between the two, you can still have that like, I didn't even know this existed or this could happen. But now that I know it's happening, there's a window in time where everyone can get involved. Hey, Pantheon members, come find out. I've just found this thing. If you guys hit this as well with me, we'll get something extra. And you've got like 24 hours to do it. That type of experience is good. That limited time, wow, someone found a boss and killed it. I didn't even get online in time. That is where I think we start getting into that friction point. But I agree with you. I think it's really fun then.
So if they did something like Demon Lord Clan Boss, where once it's dead, you can still hit it. It's, so people can try to get their scores in. But it would also be cool if, like, maybe the community at large doesn't do enough damage to kill it. Like, oh man, that would also be interesting. I don't know. Yeah. I don't. Strange. I hadn't thought about that. Like, what if it doesn't die? Do you still get loot? Or like, what if it dies before you get a chance to attack it? You know, like that kind of stuff. Interesting. I hadn't thought about those angles.
The crate dragons are all dead. Simon hunted them down.
Simon's got all of his lightsabers.
You just see it on the
terrible.
top. Simon has killed it. Simon has killed it.
Simon Fateless has killed it.
Oh man, I feel like we've been going for a while. This has been really fun, but we probably need to wrap up. So
We should
I guess
wrap it up, yes.
last quick fire question: What's your favorite boss in any game you've played that you guys have faced? Quick fire, it's hard one, hard question.
Can we say a few? Maybe.
Maybe go for a
top
couple
three.
if you want. Yeah.
Go on.
I actually wrote a list. So, do you want to go first? We can alternate if you want.
Oh wow, you came
I
with
think
notes.
we put Paul
I
in the
came
spot
prepared.
first.
Okay, I mean, I could give you one, like, and it's a fairly unpopular one in a sense, but like, I really love fighting N'Zoth in Ny'alotha. That was in the end of BFA in World of Warcraft, because I was like Mythic raid lead. We're cutting edge, and that was like the end of the expansion. We've been going for the whole expansion, so that was like a real high point of like full on end of expansion boss. It was awesome. So yeah, it wasn't that well received by people generally, but I think our guild really enjoyed it, and I found it was epic. And again, part of that is a lot of it is the social thing of like this is, and we've been building up to it over the entire expansion, and like our ranking is going up and all of that. And like, yeah, it was just really, really cool. So like that's the boss that stands out to me. It's not the best boss in WoW. It's got some big flaws, but it was like that social story of it that made it really special, I'd say.
YST, have you got one?
I was just writing down a couple here. I guess like it's hard for me to say one because there's probably gonna be one zombies fan out there and they'll be like, "Why is he? How the heck did you not say this one?" No, I think like the keeper from Die Rise back in the days, Patient 13 in Black Ops 6 was, I think, one of the best zombies maps of all time. It's a bit controversial, but even like the newest boss in Black Ops 7, I think he's like an abomination Beyblade, and he's got different phases to him, and he's spinning around. You're like, damn, you're trapped in this temple, and it was wild. It's like one of those ones that took me 4 attempts to beat it, and then they actually nerfed the boss, which was crazy, like so short after launch. But I beat it before the nerf, which is cool. I guess another game that kind of stands out to me is God of War. I think like the cinematic going through, you're tied to all of these characters, like I don't know, the Zeus fight or the Thor fight. There's some cool like boss world stuff in God of War. And I guess in terms of raid, I'd say top 2 bosses there was Astraddix the Dark Fey and Eternal Dragon. That was my one.
Wow, spicy. I would say like a really interesting game for boss fights as well is like Shadow of the Colossus. If you guys ever played that, because it's so unique. It's basically just running around the big.
I think, I don't know if this is my favorite, but it's definitely the most memorable boss fight from World of Warcraft. Like I said earlier, I did a ton of raids during the Cataclysm expansion. I was the raid healer for my guild. There's this one boss in Blackwing Descent called Archimedes, and if every time you initiated the fight, there would this RP like roleplay event would unfold where you kind of hear the backstory of the boss. And there was this other boss in the dungeon called Maloriak, and he was like this mad scientist working for Nefarian, and he was creating draconic experiments to build the ultimate dragon, so to speak, to build his own dragon flight. And at the beginning of every time you'd pull Archimedes, Maloriak had this really high-pitched, annoying voice, and he'd go, "Archimedes, your master beckons!" And it was so annoying, and there was no way to skip it. And if we wiped on the boss, we'd have to go in, start it again, and we had to go through this roleplay event. The boss fight itself was cool. Like the boss was like hypersensitive to sound, so you'd go up and like ring these bells, and it would stun the boss, and then you dump your cooldowns while the boss is stunned. And there's a lot of cool mechanics to it, but like that beginning, like Archimedes, your master beckons. It was like that is like seared into my brain, and it will never leave. So that's my story.
Open world, and then it's just the boss fights, but it's like the mystery. It's very different from Ray. Oh, Simon's gone.
Oh, I guess we're finishing it without him.
Yeah, okay, I'll carry on. But it's really cool because it's that mystery of like, what are these bosses? Should I even be killing these? Am I the bad guy? Like, it's quite fun. And I'd say my favorite raid boss probably was Hydra, probably overall. I liked you had to build 3 different teams with 6 people in it. So there was a lot of team building and stuff that you could do for your account, which I think is something they haven't achieved with Chimera at all. I think that's something they've lost out on.
Yeah.
Which is like with Hydra, I get a new champion. It's like, ooh, I can remix my teams and this is cool. And there's a place to slot them in. Again, that's also sort of gone now as well. Because I'm like, nothing is going to beat that Trunda. Never mind. That team is in forevermore. But when it was earlier, it was good.
What's your favorite like non-clan boss in Raid? Was there one that really stands out to you?
Ooh, that's interesting. Favorite I think Dark Fae is one of the coolest, most well-designed bosses in Raid. It's challenging. You need to build a specific team designed specifically to overcome it. And when you beat it, you feel so accomplished because it was challenging and because it was hard. It's such a gear check when you're pushing through for the first time. And the psychology behind you need to build your team well, but make sure they're not built too well so you can't kill your own teammates when she mind controls them or takes the copy or whatever it is that she's doing. I think the Dark Fae was just a really, really well-designed boss, which is ironic because Baumel from the same rotation is probably the shittiest boss ever made. So
like a farming boss?
Like for me, like Astronix's Dark Fae for me was like it brought in unique mechanics. You're taking down clones. There's some,
my boys got it, nailed it.
Affinity stuff in play. There's term eater reduction. I thought that design was just amazing. And like the Eternal Dragon where you have to kill the priest to get your cooldowns back, and then you kill that one so you can heal. And there's some crazy stuff. But have you guys got one like that? Oh.
I mean, I'll be honest, for me, probably nothing really stands out because it's been so long. Like, we've just been farming them for ages. I've kind of forgotten. Probably like...
Maybe the first time you faced him and you're like, damn, that was crazy.
That's the way I interpreted it, was fighting him for the first time. Dark Fae. But in terms of like farming, like I want my farming experience to be as easy and fast as possible. So Dragon, I guess, would be my favorite one to farm just because it's easy. But yeah, Dark Fae facing her for the first time was really cool. And trying to overcome it.
You're like, wow.
Yeah, it's been years. It really has been years since we had like I hate Amius is my least favorite boss, by the way. I think that boss sucks. I'd say like the most WoW of the normal ones. I don't know. I quite like the dragon just for the simple, like it's so simple and it's the first
simple one.
But I quite like that, he eats Elhain in the prologue and like, oh, and then you go and you get to fight him again. It's simple, but that was kind of fun.
It's cool.
How about you?
Yeah.
Something that I think was really cool with the raid like tutorial system, like when you're going through the first time, I remember seeing my team go up against a dragon and I was like, oh, we're gonna kill a dragon. Okay, yeah, right. Like dragons are so powerful. This game is so stupid. And then we don't kill the dragon. It actually eats Elhain and then kills us like one hit. And I'm like, okay, this game's kind of cool. The fact that they engineered a loss condition for the player guaranteed, it forces the players to feel failure right out the gate. And it really sets the tone for the game, I think. And that it sets your expectations. Because you don't kill the dragon, you realize instantly from the very first moments that you're going to lose and this game can be hard. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah. Mine is Finite OG hard.
Yeah. Ooh.
Before it got crazy, just because like there was so much mechanics around trying to get the certain number of hits at a certain number of time with the certain right thing, trying to kill the wave and then get into the boss and then trying to keep the turn meter. It's a bit irrelevant now that you've got Nuke Marius that can just go boom, 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 dead. But before we had those, and probably even before Finite Hard, like just trying to make sure you got the right number of hits. And then you could queue it up and get the right speeds. And if you were one speed over, one speed under, you could easily make a different break point. It was really fun to do a team build for that because you did have so many different options, but you still had to try and put them together and get through the ways that you could.
That's a really good point too. Like I felt so gratified the first time I built, like I pulled Seer, I earned my Lydia, like building a speed team for Fire Knight and having it speed tuned so that it would work on full auto was so gratifying. And that's a good one too. I like Fire Knight. I miss it's nostalgic, very nostalgic.
You could make a team that was really good for the boss and you never get to the waves because it takes 2 minutes. And then people trying to bring Genzin in because Genzin's really good for the waves and he had the shield, like And
Yeah.
that boss is really fun for me in Raid. I actually think that Chimera's biggest failure is because they just never balance the numbers. Like enemy max HP is just so dominant that you, by the point most players.
And that's something that's really cool about Godforge is the abilities which do enemy max HP, like Beowulf in particular. They only do like 1% enemy max HP. So you can gear him to the gills with insane crit damage, and they won't like. In Raid, they put the cap on it, so even if it could have done like half the boss's HP in one hit, it can only do like 10% now or whatever. But Godforge is starting where the abilities only do like 1%. So if you build up enough crit damage, you could effectively hit, and especially if it's strong hits like Beowulf's core ability does, it could do like 30, 40, 50% of the boss's HP if your gear is good enough. You know, it's interesting, that approach, because it would take immense gear to get there, but you could get there eventually. But you're not going to just go in and one-shot the boss with mediocre gear. Like it's something that you would build up to eventually. I think that's kind of neat how they did that approach for Godforge. At least in the alpha, things could change before early access, but
He's got Marius by the point that we're getting. It's like nothing is ever going to beat this because you couldn't even scale the progression of the enemy max HP. It was always like it's on or it's not. There's no variability in it, and unless you're going to bring something like a 4-star Toshiro who's giga charged, you're just never going to beat it. So I think that's why that failed. For me, my most favorite boss fight ever was in Lord of the Rings Online. It was the Gorthron fight in Osternoth. And it was the final boss of the Osternoth dungeon, which was like level 60. It was like really, like we're talking 10, 15 years ago. But what you had to do is you'd have to have a tank that would run around and kite him during certain phases. So there was like doorways, and he was a necro sorcerer. And you would basically at certain phases open the doors, and then enemies would come out, depending on what region, if it was like the frost region or something like that. You'd have to have the tank basically hold enough threat to run the boss around, whilst you had like specific, like you had a lore master that had to stun one of the opponents. If you didn't stun it, you wiped. And it was so much like, it was very archetypally driven. Your team had to be balanced. You couldn't just go in with one boss, one healer, and 5 DPSs and just do it. It was like, okay, well, we need this. Your job is to stun this. And the amount of times one of our lore masters was like, oh, I rolled a miss. And I'm like, you didn't do it. Don't say you rolled a miss. Like the amount of times you've missed at this. And it was just a lot of, it wasn't complex, but everything had to be right at the right time. And then you had to get it back into motion. And if you defeated it, it was really, really hard at the time. And it was really, like, it was only a couple of us in the server that could even beat the damn thing. And you got like a special title for it and everything. They kind of simplified the dungeon in the end. And up until that point, you had a lot of cool little mini bosses of like different wings you'd have to go through. That was my most favorite boss fight. And it's very difficult to reproduce those kind of things in a 5-minute window of time in a boss fight.
It's so different.
Yes, I love that kind of stuff where it's like, it's so hard to beat. And even if you have to keep going again and again, when you beat it, you're like, that was so good. Let's go again.
Yeah.
Faster time.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. Indeed, this was a great fun chat for us to talk about like different boss mechanics. Obviously, in Godforge, we're building lots of different cool bosses, so this is all really interesting stuff for us. Thank you, YST and Nutbreeze, for coming along, for having a chat with us today.
Anytime.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, and make sure, guys, you follow the channel if you want to see more. We release a weekly podcast, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not normally the guy who says all this stuff. I'm pretty sure it's a weekly podcast, but you can stay up to date with the game by following our channel and all of our socials. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
I think this was a really good discussion. Did I already click the like button or something? My biggest concerns are that forced cooperative gameplay could be disruptive for the average player's feng shui, I guess. I don't think it is. It feels antithetical to this genre, and I think there's a reason that no one has done it. I think it's because those designers understand their player base, and if they implement these co-op features and it is such that you have to cooperate in real time, it is a game mode that I will not be able to participate in, and it will be very frustrating. Same with Live Arena and Raid. I just could not find the time to do it, because I play these games because they rarely require 100% of my undivided attention, and any game mode like the one they described that forces cooperation, I will not have time to participate in. And I know I'm not alone. I think they need to keep their target audience in mind when they're designing game modes. I think the stuff that they described sounds cool, and it could be cool for a different game from a different genre, but I don't think it's right for Godforge. And I think they should write these ideas down and put them in a notebook for their next game, but not this one. That's a controversial take. There is something I want to read real quick in the suggestions log on the Godforge Discord. I saw this pop up, but I did not read the entire message. I saw regarding the discussion in the podcast today, and then I stopped reading it because I didn't want any spoilers. So I want to see what this person has to say, and then we could read the discussion that unfolded afterwards. So regarding the discussion on the podcast today about surprise world bosses, I think surprise world bosses can be fun if done right. I agree. Something that might make it more accessible while still keeping the surprise aspect. Pick an extended time frame for the boss event, like 2 weeks or a month. I think that might be too long. I think 1 week maximum is probably for a surprise event, in my opinion. I think if it lasts for 2 weeks or a month, then it's not exciting because there's no scarcity to the event, and it doesn't feel special when it pops up because you thought, oh, I got a whole month. It's not a big deal. I think a week maximum, and that even a week long is kind of pushing it. I think 3 to 4 days. It's probably fine. During that time, have the boss appear for X amount of times. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like Live Arena, where it's only open like 2 hours a day, once every 4 hours. Hard no to that. That is literally the reason why I never do Live Arena, because it's never open when I'm available to do it. When it doesn't work on my schedule, I have to work on their schedule, and my availability is what it is. No, that's a hard no for me. Sorry. Have a set rewards for the first competition and set lesser rewards for subsequent. Oh, completion. Sorry, I have dyslexia. Have a set of rewards for the first completion and a set of lesser rewards for each subsequent completions. That's interesting because it gives it replayability. What I would prefer is what Simon mentioned, where like you fight it, and then whatever your highest score is, you get rewarded for that. That makes it a little bit more fair for people who don't have as much time to play it. Like, you only get rewards for fighting it once, but you can try to get a better score and better rewards if you're incentivized to. I think that would be cool, and it'd make for cool live stream content. Imagine your favorite content creator logging in to fight the world boss, and they're like tinkering with their team on the fly to try to get a better score. Like, that would be exciting to watch. It'd be exciting for me to do. So DLDS in the live stream chat says, I wouldn't be mad at 2 weeks, but I agree a week long would be the max. Yeah, I wouldn't hate it, but like, it feels way less exclusive and way less exciting if it's there for an extended period of time. Like, I think a week, in my opinion, should be the max on something like that. Players can fight the boss every time it appears, but they only get the first completion rewards. No, because then this creates a weird meta where like nobody wants to actually fight it, and they just wait for the content creators to tell you what the best strategy is, and then everybody copies that and then hits it. Like, I don't like that. I think Simon's approach, where you could hit it as many times as you want, but you save your best score, to me, that's the best way to go about it. I don't like this. If you can only fight it, because if you fight it every time it appears, this is on the assumption that it's spawning like this during that time, X amount of times per day for 2 hours and once every 4 hours. Like, no. So because I hard disagree with this, I have to hard disagree with this, because that just doesn't work for people, especially if they make it a collaborative event where you have to cooperate with another player in real time. That makes it impossible. Okay, so let's see. There's some this seems to have sparked some discussion. So let's see what Unbound Sage says. I like Unbound Sage. He's a fellow Godforge content creator. The reason his name is in brown is because, what's his official title? Let's view his whole. The Explorers. Yeah, so this was granted to him because he won the competition. He was the first player in Alpha Wave 3 to get 300 stars. I have a lot of respect for his opinion. I like him as a person. Let's see what he has to say. I like the idea of hiding secrets in the game for players to find. Same here. That sounds cool. Like 3 to 5 days before the world boss spawns, it would be cool if there were small hints in game that the community could unravel to pinpoint the exact time. That would be sick. My man, cooking over here. Okay. Solving the mystery would give the community more of a heads up for planning. And if we fail to find the hints, the boss spawns without warning. That is really cool. I like that a lot. Even something small like the runes on Excalibur are different and leads us to a hard stage, Avalon, stage 4 to 7. And the signpost in the background of the second wave has a small QR code that leads us. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So if you guys ever played Overwatch, or even if you haven't, they did something like this when they were releasing a new hero called Sombra. And it was like, I forget what they call it, like an alternate reality game, which doesn't really make sense because it was taking place in our actual reality. And then we were solving it in our reality to put the guests into Overwatch. But they were giving us hints, and the community would like collaborate and come together and solve the puzzles to try to solve. Like, they weren't going to give us the hero until we figured out who it was. And it ended up being like this really cool, like, cyber hacker, like, her name was Sombra. But the community was like looking in the wrong place. So then they would do a forum post saying, you're looking to the sky, instead you should be looking here, to kind of guide us back in the right direction. And then we, as a community, got to solve the puzzle to figure out who the next hero was going to be. It was really cool. Like, stuff like that. Like, I don't know if Overwatch still does that kind of thing, but I haven't played Overwatch in like 12 years or something crazy. Like, no, it hasn't been 12 years. 10 years? 9 years? I stopped playing when my daughter was born. She just turned 9. So it's been about 9 years. Like, I still remember that. It was really, really cool. Like, the whole Reddit community came together to like solve it. Yeah, I don't know if they still do, but they did for that hero release specifically. I think it was because she was like this cyber hacker, and I think they were role playing as the hacker. Like, they were the one, the hero was the one giving the community the hints as to her identity, and we had to solve it and figure out who she was. Like, that kind of thing was sick. Yeah, so this right here from Unbound Sage is like genius. Like, yeah, so we find a QR code in the game, we scan the QR code, we find a cryptic poem that can be decrypted, and yeah, like, this is 5-head next level stuff. Genius. Unbound Sage. Okay. W. The person who made the original post replies, you can still do that. My main point was just having multiple boss encounters. I disagree with this. No offense. You're welcome to your opinion. I just hold a different one. See, Bionic Bullock, he was active in the alpha waves as well. It'd be a real shame if the boss appeared for... Exactly, this is what I'm saying. 100%. You know, that Adam thumb right there. As long as the appearance were at least... Yeah, I think it should be like a weekend event. The boss spawns on Friday at midnight UTC, and then on midnight UTC on Monday, like, just go through the whole weekend. Like, that would be ideal. If they made it last a full week, I'd be okay with that. But I think making it like a weekend event would be sick. I don't like limiting 12 hours a day, because, like, what if it's in the 12 hours a day when I'm asleep, getting ready for work, and then driving to work, and then like the first hour of my shift, and I don't have time to do it? How much would that suck for me if I just didn't get to do it ever? Yeah, like, you got to remember, people from around the entire world are playing this, so you have to. When you limit it like raid limited live arena, you're really excluding a ton of people. Another thing they could do, yeah. I'm gonna reply to Sage because I think this is sick. Bro, this would be awesome. Reminds me of the Sombra event Blizzard did with Overwatch back in the day. Yeah, I think Unbound Sage is, yeah. There's one more thing. If you guys are still wanting to hang out, I've only been live streaming for about less than just over 2 hours now. There's a Hell Hades video. Hey, look, I'm streaming live, guys. Let's see what Adam's up to. Hell Hades video. Oh, look at that handsome devil. Sorry, I can't help myself. There's a Hell Hades video that came out a few weeks ago that I didn't watch that everyone was buzzing about. I kind of want to watch it since we're all here. I wasn't planning on it. I thought about it that I might. Let's give that a watch because I'm not ready to just stop streaming it. I don't know. I blocked the robots, whatever these ping cord and me 6 and hold on. Maybe is this it? New game. Oh no, that's not it. That's not it. Maybe I should just go to his channel and find it. There was he put a god. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Okay, I haven't watched this. Let's watch this while we're all here. I haven't seen this yet. A lot of people ranting it. Apparently, do you guys know that you're not anonymous when you do this? Like we can see exactly who you are. Apparently, Fawns, Penguin Party, Zeus, which is weird that Zeus doesn't like it because Zeus is in Godforge, and Duke Wombat. Oh, great, because the clan boss is Kronos, which is Zeus's father, and they never got along. Okay, this makes total sense. I get it. You're fine. But yeah, you're not anonymous when you react. People can see who you are, just so you know. Fair warning. Be nice on the internet. Well, let's watch this video. I haven't seen this yet. It was supposed to be pretty hype. Yo, okay. Pretty cool.
Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. Today we're going to be looking at the love of my life. For
Me?
2 years and 5 months.
We've been building this company Fateless, and we've been building a game Godforge, and it's actually really close now. So yeah, this is a video I put out 2 years 5 months ago. I can finally share this. This is when I said to you guys, I'm doing this because you asked me to. You guys wanted us to be able to build a game that's going to be awesome in this genre, a squad RPG, and we are looking to deliver. So early next year, this is going to be released. What I'm going to show you today is basically the framework of what we're building to release in that time. You could come and sub to the Fateless YouTube channel. We're so close to 100,000 subs. I'd love to get that by the end of the year. But on that channel,
Go subscribe to the Fateless YouTube channel.
I put out basically a weekly video, and we do a weekly podcast, just really like sharing the updates of the development of the game, that type of stuff. But yeah, in this video, I'm just going to kind of like catch you up really. Almost every 3 months or so, I've been doing a video just sharing the sort of development of the game and some of the key sort of milestones we hit. We went from brand new studio looking to source our ideas, to get investment so we can actually build this thing. We've gradually built our team over that.
One thing that's really interesting, am I going the wrong way? This is Athena. Athena is the one who turned Medusa into Medusa, which is why Medusa is featured on her shield. But the character that we see in game Medusa doesn't look like what we see on the shield.
That, 2.5 years, we've got about 50 people now in the Fateless team. And we've hit different milestones along the way. So I've shown you from white box to kind of like, I guess, early development stages. I've shown you the characters, the heroes as they've been built along the way.
We had an alpha test in July through to September. 35,000 players came in and played the alpha. We got tons of feedback. And now we're in this kind of like milestone towards our early access build, which we're looking to drop early next year. So first thing I'm going to show you is, what should I show you first? Heroes, I think. I'm going to show you how heroes have evolved. You know, some of the lighting has changed. We now got a lot of the correct sort of backdrops and setting in for the heroes.
Horus looks so sick, man. Just total badass.
In fact, let's go by the different realms here, which is like our version of factions. And I'll show you just a few of those heroes with good lighting and shaders in play. You can start to see the sort of vibe we're going for, the sort of quality level we're trying to hit with our game. So we've got the Aru faction here, which is basically our Egyptian faction. You can see, some you might have seen already.
Oh, did you hear the little clicky sound effect when he selected a new hero?
Faction here, which is basically our Egyptian faction. You can see.
I don't think that was in the alpha. I think that's new.
Some you might have seen already, but if you've been following the project, Anubis, Horus, Ra. Let's go into Asgardian faction.
You know it's going to be good by the way he's smiling.
We've got our version of Thor. Mjolnir here. Actually, some of the lighting in this one's still a bit dark. We need to fix it, but you can see it's kind of like well on the way. All of the legendaries will have their own idol breaker, which is unique to them. And I think Thor's one is actually pretty sweet.
It's looking pretty sick.
Bam! We've got creatures in the game. So Fenrir here. We've got creatures. We've got dragons. We've got werewolves, wolves. Who else?
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Should I show you here?
Yeah, they're looking a lot better.
Show you Grendel, who looks really sweet as well. Yeah, we're still in the sort of polish phase right now. So for the next few months, it's really polish, lighting, and the environments to make sure that they really sell. Bringing in all of the different effects that we want to bring in per hero. We show you some of the Avalon faction. This is the Fisher King. Looking very regal. With his
I was waiting for him to chug it.
chalice.
Yeah,
who else have we got
man.
here? We've got the Lady of the Lake.
Ooh, you know who that reminds me of? It kind of looks like Serena Bell. I tried to bait out a leak. So if you guys missed it, Ragewood did a video where he was comparing Serena Bell to the Lady of the Lake in a side-by-side comparison. So Serena Bell posted a YouTube short on her birthday. So I commented on the YouTube short, "Happy birthday to the Lady of the Lake," to see if she would reply to it. I was hoping to squeeze out a little leak to confirm Ragewood's theory. She did not reply to my comment, unfortunately. Yeah, hold on. Let me get it at the right angle. I think this is probably good right here. Let me find a picture of Serena Bell. If you guys don't know, Serena Bell is the individual who sang the song for the Godforge cinematic. Where'd my new tab go? Okay. I don't know how to spell. Okay, here we go. Perfect. This is from her Instagram account. I don't know if I have an yeah. Find a good picture here. This is like perfect. Okay. I have to log in. I don't have an Instagram. It's making me okay. Hold on. My mouse is messed up. I can't click and drag. Here we go. Okay. Just try to crop it to get. So look at the necklace. She's wearing a cross necklace. She's got like this choker. She's wearing a choker in this image too. But I swear there's a picture of her wearing a choker that looked exactly like this. And if you look at the facial features, I mean, it's not perfect. It's not exact, but like it's close enough that I think Ragewood might be right. They're both wearing a choker. They got the cross necklace. And in Ragewood's video, he further points out that when Serena was on the Fateless podcast, they asked her what hero would she like to see in the game. She said Lady of the Lake. So seems pretty plausible.
Got the Morrigan.
Oh, the Morgan. Oh, snap.
This dude's cool, but he needs a bit of fixing. Aron. King Arthur with Excalibur here.
The reason I got excited to see the Morgan is because a lot of us, Ragewood specifically, is the first one to come up with this theory as far as I'm aware. He theorizes that the Raven or the Crow that we see in the Godforge cinematic could in fact be the Morrigan. So I thought that was interesting.
And his massive tower shield. Again, cool visuals. Who else have we got? Let's bring you down to... Okay, it's probably my favorite faction, actually. So this is the American. Yeah, there's some really, really cool looking heroes in this faction. This is one of them. This is another. Kamazot's here. We've got Kinich.
Compare, like, from where they're at, just from the alpha to now is insane how far it's come.
Hi. Said that totally wrong, I'm sure. Sizin.
This guy is so cool,
Look
man.
at this dude. It's maybe my favorite idol breaker in the game. Let it play out in a second. Loads of character in it. Bit of sass. But very cool. And obviously we've got like epics and rares and you know, all of the sort of normal tropes that you would expect for this type of game. Let's have a look here. This is the Eka faction. This is sort of based on Babylonian, Mesopotamian lore and myth.
I love the swords that are like, this one looks like it's like ice or water, and then this one looks like fire. That's pretty sick.
This is Lamash 2.
Like every character you see, it's like there's so much detail in their aesthetic that tells a story that ties into the lore of the heroes as they were in history. It's kind of cool. Like I'm sure there's a story behind their weapons. I just don't happen to know what it is. But I bet if you looked into the lore of Lamashtu, placeholder title, you could learn all about their weapons.
We've got Lilith. We've got Pazuzu with maybe my
Pazuzu.
favorite weapon in the game.
That's pretty
really
sick.
badass. Very cool. Aya also looking really sweet as well.
She's like hovering above the ground. That's something they're gonna have to touch up before the game launches. But yeah, that's not a huge deal. A lot of people probably wouldn't even notice.
Then got so this is our Tian faction.
Good morning, Joy B. Sakib, she's got your coffee for you, buddy.
It's kind of like based on Chinese mythology. So we've got some of the dragons, the serpent dragons like Tialong. We've got Yan Wang, who's basically the god of
So we already reacted to the podcast. I just thought I'd watch this Hell Hades video because I hadn't seen it yet. Before I felt like I wanted to stream a little longer.
death. Wukong is in. Again, lots of very cool dudes. I actually really like this guy as well.
I think Sun Tzu is cool. It's cool that they got him in there.
And then we go into our... so this one is the Izumu. It's based on sort of more like Japanese mythology.
So sick.
Oda looking very, very sweet. This backdrop was actually just finished yesterday. I think it looks great. Again, another very cool Idol Breaker here from Raijin. Comes. It needs a bit of polishing, but it's actually very sweet.
She's gonna play the drums.
Let's go.
It'd be so. I don't expect them to do this, but it would be really cool if they added drum sound effects when he's like. That'd be pretty cool.
Who else have we got?
Maybe
in
they will.
here?
Who knows?
I can show you. Oh yeah, these guys as well.
Pretty
Mezu
sick.
and Gozu.
Cool.
Great work on these. We've got some of the different samurais in. And then we come to the...
See, that's what I mean. When we saw Athena's shield, it was clearly meant to be a Medusa, but now it doesn't look anything like this Medusa in the game.
Olympians, so the Olympus faction.
I mean, I'm not complaining about her aesthetic.
Got Medusa here.
She certainly has some nice
Make
features.
sure you don't look in her eyes.
Don't worry, that's not a problem.
Also, do not look at her bosoms.
What?
We've got Ares, the god of war.
You're not my daddy.
Yeah, and still polishing to do, but we're kind of like moving things on really well. And then finally, we've got our Slavic faction. So this for us is Virage.
Belobog was
Slavic
so
and
cool,
surrounding,
man.
I guess, but Belobog, Chernobog.
Click, no, this guy, hold on. I can just use my mouse. Okay, this guy, I wanted to see this guy. When I had Simon on my podcast, actually, before that, when I was invited to be on the Fateless podcast, I was asking about buffs, debuffs, and disables, and Dirk and Simon were talking about their transform debuff and how some heroes may benefit from being under the transform debuff. Like they might place it on themselves and then gain some advantage from that happening, like skinwalkers or druids or skin shifters, like that kind of thing. Then when Simon was on Podforge, Charlemagne was my other guest, and because the following day was Charlemagne's birthday, Charlemagne asked for some cheeky birthday leaks. In that time, Simon showed us this character right here, who looks like a feral, like, beast man. I brought up the transform thing that Dirk mentioned on the Fateless podcast and asked if this guy was going to be one of those heroes who gains benefit from being under the transform disable. And Simon didn't exactly have the best poker face. He was like, I don't know, man. So it is my personal belief, based on the clues, that this hero right here will have the ability to cast the transform disable on themselves. And once they are transformed into an animal form, they will gain significant benefits and have a really cool kit. So I'm really excited to see if that's true, and B, how it turns out. And his just aesthetic is so cool.
Svarog.
That's badass too.
Looking damn sweet. And plenty more. Polonitsa, this one's also really cool. Love a visual. And yeah, so you get a feel for the type of vibe we're going for. Now, when we did the alpha, there was a few things which the players really enjoyed. So, and it was actually some of the things that purposely we've tried to innovate with in this genre. So we've got our weapon system here, where basically each of your different weapons will have an ability, and then you also have the ability to imprint a passive of any hero onto your weapon. So this is one of the ways we wanted to innovate to give players real depth of their kind of like builds. So all of the different weapons will have its own, what we're calling an implicit, which is an ability, and then you will put a passive onto that weapon as well, so that every build you do can be basically unique. So if you get duplicates of heroes, you can actually extract their passive.
Joby, I'm sure he is going to try to keep some surprises, but we'll see if he succeeds or not.
Way, so I can literally grab my Lancelot here. Some of the abilities not implemented yet in terms of names and stuff, but I would be able to extract Lancelot's imprint that onto a weapon, and then whoever holds that weapon is going to have that passive ability. So it's really fun. Gives you tons of variety of builds. Also, it allows us to drop imprints as like a fun reward for events and stuff like that. So that's going to be one of our kind of like key changes to what you see in this type of game. Also, the other one which people really enjoyed, let me just jump into a dungeon here, is our ultimate system. So I'm just going to grab Harun, who looks really sweet. Show you a bit of kind of like the way gameplay feels.
Oh, sick. They've done a lot of work on the cameras.
So we have 3 different camera kind of angles. We can go for the POV, which is kind of like first person. I want to see stuff going down. Let's just do it on 1 speed for a second. It's going to be slow, but it gives you an idea of what we're going for this. Damn, we just slayed the whole group.
Whoa. A rift has opened. What does that mean? Oh, the screen looks like it's shattered. Like the shattering, perhaps. Oh, okay. So we learned from Aaron, the narrative director, that the 9 realms, which are the factions, exist in the same space. Okay, so the multiverse shattered and then it was reformed. When it was reformed, all these realities, 9 different realities, realms from the multiverse, are now sharing the same space in space and time. And there are moments where rifts open where you can travel from one realm to the other because they're like overlapping and it's unstable. So this looks like one of those rifts that has opened up.
We've got rifts that can randomly open. I didn't expect that to happen, but you can go into a rift and there's like more rewards there, but it's more challenging to be able to beat that stage. So it's kind of like risk versus reward.
So if you beat the rift, you acquire Achilles. Is that it says rare and then Achilles, but Achilles is an epic. Huh.
In our dungeon system. And then as different events like play out in the game, your heroes gain divinity, and divinity will allow you to unleash ults. Now, if I had 3 people with ults at the same time, I could actually do back-to-back ults, even if it was not their turn. So you can see the turn order on the left here. So even though my other 2, so Gilgamesh doesn't get his turn until after all of the enemies, because it's my turn as a player, I can choose to use Gilgamesh's ult straight away and basically strategically change the way that battle is going down. Gilgamesh clears the wave, even though it wasn't his turn.
He got his ultimate back already.
And again, this is one of the other bits of feedback we had from the alpha that people really, really enjoyed.
That was sick. Hold up.
Bits of feedback we had from the alpha that people really, really enjoyed. It's kind of like strategic way of playing.
Badass.
Now, our bosses, we wanted them to feel larger than life and really imposing. So a lot of our bosses will have this kind of like, almost like World of Warcraft-esque feel to them in terms of like the size, the epic nature of them. And as I say, we've got 3 different camera modes. So we've got this POV, which I've kind of shown you here. We've got the top camera, which kind of comes behind your team. And then we've got the action camera, which is more like the isometric view, which perhaps we're a bit more used to in games like Raid. And then obviously we could go in there and get a job done. I've got it on insta-kill, I think, right now. So that's why everyone's just like getting slain so easy. And anyway, you get the idea. So this is kind of like a feel for some of the combat in the game and what we're going for.
Use Rift Key? Oh, what are these? Are these the Rift Keys? It says it would cost 1 out of his 1 million that he's got. Huh. What is a Rift Key?
Let's come back out to the Sanctum here. So we've got a number of different game modes which will be available in our early access campaign, where we will have cutscenes which have been like animated, really rich storytelling. For our campaign, we will release which.
Why did it cut it off? It's so cool. Hold up. Oh, you know what? I should screenshot this and send this to Scratch. He was looking for cool assets to use in a thumbnail. This is really cool. I'll send it later. It's on my clipboard.
Really rich storytelling. For our campaign, we will release with chapter 1, but for us, campaign does not end once you've done it. We will be dropping lore-based chapters over time, so that campaigns are an ongoing feature in Godforge. There'll also be heroic campaigns. We will be dropping.
I have attention deficit disorder, and I was daydreaming about how I was going to send that screenshot to Scratch. I missed everything he was talking about here, so I'm going to rewind it. I apologize.
Like animated, really rich storytelling. For our campaign, we will release with chapter 1, but for us, campaign does not end once you've done it. We will be dropping lore-based chapters over time, so that campaigns are an ongoing feature in Godforge. There'll also be heroic mode where you get much higher quality gear gear that you will actually use as you sort of play through the game. We've also got dungeons, so we've got 4 of.
What did Scratch want? Oh, he was asking in the Discord today if there were any new assets that he could use for like a thumbnail of a video. And I was gonna send him a screenshot. Here, I'll just post it in the CC Discord real quick so I don't lose it. Oops. I can't. Hold on. There. All right, let's resume.
The Affinity or Ascension dungeons here, and then we've got 5 equipment dungeons.
Daydreaming about a soul day. That's every other time you see me daydreaming. Okay, let's rewind. I want to hear what he's. I want to rewind it a bit.
And we've got that you will actually use mode where you get much higher quality gear that you will actually use as you sort of play through the game. We've also got dungeons, so we've got 4 of the Affinity or Ascension dungeons here, and then we've got 5 equipment dungeons to be working through, one of them specifically being a weapons dungeon. We've got the tower mode where you can choose to scale the tower of.
I think this is interesting, and I don't know how I feel about it. So in the most recent Fateless video they uploaded this past Tuesday, 2 days ago, they're saying you have to choose, which I think it's cool that players get a choice, but man, it's going to be so hard to choose. It's going to be so hard to choose.
Order or the Tower of Chaos.
Yeah.
And then within the different towers, there'll be different bosses which we rotate in and out. We've got
the choice might actually come down to like what heroes you have. Like if you're fighting the Tower of Chaos, you use Order heroes. If you're fighting the Tower of Order, you use Chaos heroes. If you have really good Order heroes, you might just choose the Tower of Chaos because you know you can complete more of it. Yeah, that could be true too, Sneaky.
the draft mode, which is a normalized game mode. Every time you do a draft, you would get a different set of heroes, a different set of challenges. There's zero chance that it could be pay to win because it's literally down to your skill and knowledge of the game to draft the right heroes to be able to take on the content, and that'll be where you earn some cool imprints and for your weapons, that type of stuff. Then we've got our early version of Arena, which is basically like an async arena where you work.
I really hope they have an asynchronous version of the normalized PvP as well. If normalized PvP is only live real-time combat, I won't be able to participate in it. Assuming, unless they leave it open the whole time. If they do it like Raid did it, I won't be able to do it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think you're right, Sneaky. I think if you have a good collection, it's going to come down to who is available as a reward in the tower and who do I want the most of those heroes.
Your way through, I'd say a more basic version of Arena, which we understand well from this style of game. You work your way through different levels, etc. For early access, that's our kind of like initial view of Arena, but we will have a much more sort of scaled up version over time. We then have our Pantheon boss, so I can show you Kronos, who's going to be the kind of main enemy. We've got a number of different ways to earn rewards. We want for you to play with your friends.
So right here, you can see timers on the affinities. The 1 day, 11 hours, 35 minutes, 2 days. So I'm assuming. So right now it looks like it's red, and then probably for the next 11 hours it'll turn blue, and then 1 day in 11 hours it turns green, and then 2 days in 11 hours it goes back to red. So it's kind of cool that you can see the rotation and like anticipate and plan for it.
So even if you have like someone who comes in 2 months after you, they could still join the same Pantheon, and they would still earn good rewards based on.
Wait, did you say 2 months? What? Hold on. I was so distracted by this. I missed what he was saying. Sorry.
Kind of main enemy. We've got a number of different ways to earn rewards. We want for you to play with your friends. So even if you have like someone who comes in 2 months after you, they could still join the same pantheon and they would still earn good rewards based on the milestone rewards, based on the pantheon reward bonus, but they would earn it based on the sort of level of damage they're able to achieve. So
I feel confused. Okay, so he's saying he wants you to be able to play with your friends. So it doesn't matter if like you're a super giga in-game player and you have a new player in your pantheon. But what? Hold on, I gotta listen to them how he says this one more time. I'm still confused. Hey, what's up, Jack?
You to play with your friends. So even if you have like someone who comes in 2 months after you, they could still join the same pantheon and they would still earn good rewards based on the milestone rewards, based on the pantheon reward bonus.
So if a new player joins like an end game clan, they're gonna get rewards based on the pantheon's level here, but also individual rewards based on their own performance. So it's basically going to be like if you're a new player, you want to join an end-game clan, man. You get these +4 chests on the I don't know.
But they would earn it based on the sort of level of damage they're able to achieve. So we want for pantheons to be formed of people that enjoy playing together. So yeah, let me just show you Kronos in all his glory. I'm in Unity, so this blue is just because I've not loaded him in yet today. So this...
I got you. Thank you, Mr. Sneaky. I think I got it. I just had to listen to it a couple times. I appreciate that.
This is Kronos. Flick through the different cameras so you can sort of get a feel for him. Turn the UI off as well. We will have, so anyone who's playing on auto, you can literally just be like, bam, I'm going to turn off any of the UI that I don't really care about right now.
That's going to be so cool for making thumbnails. As a content creator, I'm super excited for this.
So I could enjoy the visual of the game and the battle, and then after I can turn it back on. A lot of these camera things are still being polished, but ultimately this is going to be the boss with multiple abilities, all of that type of stuff. I'm not going to give away any of the actual abilities yet because I want that to be fun when we sort of move our way into release. One of the other things I wanted to call out here is our chat system. So you will have the ability as a Pantheon to join a Discord server chat and interact with Discord directly through our chat system.
That is so cool. Man. Thanatos. I don't know who Thanatos is. I'm not a big mythology guy. I'm not interested in Godforge because it's mythology. I'm interested in Godforge because it's a turn-based hero collector RPG. Yeah, it's been a while since I've made some Godforge content, but I thought the topic of this week's podcast was really cool, and when I finished the podcast, I was in the mood to keep streaming, so I thought I'd watch this video that I hadn't seen yet. The Discord is, yeah, I mean, it's yeah, this is so cool. I'm so excited because there've been so many times, and what I'm hoping is you can see, like, if I send a screenshot of my build in Discord, if you can see it from in-game, that would be top notch. I really hope that's how it works.
Also, on your friends list, you'll be able to connect to Discord and be chatting to your friends whilst you're playing Godforge. So,
that is so cool.
We want for the interactivity to be really hard.
And because that didn't exist in Raid, it was so hard to help people. Like, when I was playing Raid before I was a content creator, I was basically helping everyone in my clan get their clan boss damage up so we could kill Brutal together for the first time, and then we can kill Nightmare together for the first time, and then take down Ultra Night. Like, I was helping everybody because I wanted to move up and I wanted the rewards. So rather than just go finding a clan that was already doing it, I decided to help my clanmates and boost them up so we could do it together, and it was really fun. But Raid's in-game chat sucked ass, like big time. It was not good. No bueno. There was a limit to how many characters you could write per message, and it was really short. Like, after 2 sentences, you'd get cut off, and you couldn't, like, it was so difficult to express things, and it's just a frustrating experience. So we had to make a Discord. And it was a pain in the ass trying to get people who don't have Discord or don't like Discord to get them to come out of the game, enter the Discord so that we can communicate. It was like pulling teeth. But with it being integrated, and if it is such that people can just type in game, like if I type something right here in game and it pops up, if people in Discord can see that and people in game can see it, like you don't have, if it's such that you don't have to be on Discord to contribute also, that would be top tier. But if it is also such that even if they're not connected to Discord, the Pantheon chat still relays to Discord, so the people who are in Discord can still see the Pantheon chat, like that would be sick. I'm kind of getting carried away with it, but like I'm so excited for this feature. Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, Sneaky and I are in the same Pantheon Discord. Actually, if that's true, if we did have it post to a public chat, we could talk to people who are in our cluster, but not necessarily our individual clans. Yeah, that's interesting. That might be a little overwhelming. Yeah, it's interesting.
And interact with Discord directly through our chat system. Also, on your friends list, you'll be able to connect to Discord and be chatting to your friends whilst you're playing Godforge. So we want for the interactivity to be really high.
It'd be really cool if there was like a Pantheon chat and then like a cluster chat. It's like things like, oh, the world boss just dropped. That goes in the cluster chat. But if it's like, hey guys, we need to... Kronos is almost dead. Does anybody have any fights left? We need to kill him before reset. That would not be something that would need to be posted in the cluster chat because it would just get buried and it would be irrelevant to 90% of the people. That's like a clan specific thing. Oh yeah, Joybee's in there too. I think Jack, not Jack, Sakib might be in there. I think Sakib fell asleep.
That's one of the key sort of features of the game. We've got obviously a different weapon system.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying too. Like, I think it'd be cool if there was a Pantheon-wide one and then one specific to like your 30-member clan or whatever it is. Having the variety would be extra cool.
System stuff like that. We've got.
I don't know how I feel about this. It's different than what I'm used to, so it's jarring. But I'm trying to be open-minded about it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'd have to interact with it to see. It's also different than what we saw in the alpha. Hey, Scratch says thanks. We'll do. He said thanks. This will do. Cool. I'm glad he got to. He found something cool. All right. I'm glad I was able to help him out.
Already good filtering systems, even if part of it is weird right now, where you could filter in or out of certain things. So I could exclude, for example, it's not working right now properly, unfortunately. Maybe if I reset. No. But I could exclude items with speed, for example, or exclude items with a certain stat,
That's
or exclude a certain type of item if I wanted to. And then if I want to equip anything, it's completely free to.
I think Jack is already in a big cluster that plays other gachas. Nah, he's allowed to play with who he wants to play with. Don't make him feel bad. It's fine.
Equip is completely free.
Jack, are you in Celestials? Is that who you're with? Oh, there he is. Hi, Sakib.
But I could exclude items with speed, for example, or exclude items with a certain stat, or exclude a certain type of item if I wanted to. And then if I want to equip anything.
What is this? Oh. Superior Nightweave. Nightweave is the gear type that goes on disruptors, and once you not ascend, you what's the word? This wasn't attune. You attune this to your disruptor, and they get a bonus 10 accuracy. Oh, that's what that is. That's the attunement button, or the attunement bonus.
Thing is completely free to equip. It's completely free to move things around between my heroes. All of those things which make sense for this type of game. we thought about basically every element of those things. So if I went in and, I don't know, did a full build on...
Yeah, there's a small delay in chat. So yeah, I appreciate you helping me out, but I got there eventually. I just couldn't think of the word for it.
My Camazot's here and decided to just remove all the gear. We're not going to charge you gold or anything to do that. It just makes sense that would work. And yeah, we obviously have things like enhance your material.
Oh, a higher rank gives a higher bonus. The rank 3 one was only 10 accuracy, but the rank 4 one gives 14.
We also have the ability to attune items if they fit your archetype. So each hero's got one of 5 archetypes: Disruptor, Slayer, Defender, Invoker, and Brawler. So each piece of gear has got a certain gear type to it. So you can see in the sort of visual the differences here. So this one is Chainmail. This helm here is Nightweave. If you get a piece which is the right type of piece for your class, here is in the sort of visual the differences here. So this one is...
But it's the same. Maybe that's just not finished yet. Okay. Because you think Chainmail was for like brawlers and they would get something besides accuracy.
Chainmail. This helm here is Nightweave.
I'm pretty sure Nightweave is for disruptors though, so accuracy makes sense.
Weave. If you get a piece which is the right type of piece for your class, then you can attune and you will gain a bonus stats.
These bonuses might just be all placeholder for now.
For attuning, depending on the gear piece.
Oh, wait, this is plate and it gives defense. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Maybe it has maybe hold on. Maybe it has something to do with the main set accuracy, main set. No, because that's defense and accuracy. I don't know.
This helm here
maybe they're still working out the kinks.
Is Nightweave. If you get a piece which is the right type of piece for your class, then you can attune and you will gain a bonus stats for attuning, depending on the gear piece, the gear piece type. So what we want to do with that is really encourage people to, I just go for those min-max builds. It's more like an end game feature, really, where you would attune. I think that's most of the things that we kind of got planned for the initial launch. As I say, it's been a crazy 2.5 years. We've probably been building Godforge for about 2 years, actually, although we started the company about 2.5 years ago. And damn, so many times we've kind of like reiterated on something, brought something different in that's fresh. We've got this long roadmap of features that we also want to add that we won't be bringing in for that.
He's just like whacking him in the shins because he's so tall.
Early access, but all I would suggest is come to godforge.gg, sign up to the early access list. We've already got over 50,000 people signed up, and yeah, please come and support the Fateless YouTube channel. So you see as we progress. Thank you to the community here. Like, this is literally only possible because of this community. So that's absolutely mad, and it's been a wild ride so far. I cannot wait until we release this game. Anyway, there you go, guys.
Hey, same. I can't really wait till they release the game.
I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you real soon.
Boom. That was sick. All right. I know people are just starting to tune in. We reacted to the podcast from that was posted Thursday today. Well, today for me, yesterday for a lot of you European folk. I guess it's after midnight, so technically yesterday. And then I wanted to keep streaming, so I reacted to this video because I hadn't seen it yet. But I think I'm out of content to react to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this live stream. I'm going to go make myself some food, catch a snack, and then I'm going to play some hardcore World of Warcraft. And if I'm feeling saucy, I might even stream it on my second channel. If you guys are not subscribed to my second channel and you're interested in World of Warcraft hardcore live streams, you can find that channel, and all my PC gaming content, everything that's not mobile games, goes on this channel here. So if that's the kind of stuff that you're interested in, like if I do Baldur's Gate 3, or if I do like if I ever tried to play Skyrim, that type of thing. That'll all go on my second channel here, The Adventures of Adam PC Gaming. So I think Joey is excited to watch me do some World of Warcraft hardcore. But yeah, I'm going to get something to eat first. I got to make the thumbnail, and then we'll go live on the second channel. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys over there. If not, no big deal. Catch you in the next one. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later. Have a good day, everyone.